Good morning.
You may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, including long-term care benefits.
Good morning, everyone. Coming on the air now.
At the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and
The
Fort
8th. It is the 8th. Can you believe?
855 FLA 3782 855 FLA 3782.
Welcome to the show. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you, Tina.
Running radio show, the Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free.
All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Welcome. It's Friday, the 8th of May, 2020. So much happening, so much going on, some good, a lot of it bad. What's going on? We'll talk about with this one of the most disgusting, most racist things I think we've seen since color television, or maybe even since the invention of the internet, with this Georgia murder, which we are going to talk about today. And we've got a lot of other things going on too. Oh man, I tell you, this is one of those things. I watched the video this morning, which I did not want to do. I started to watch it yesterday, and I can't watch this Georgia video, but then I felt I had to watch it so that I could talk about it. And it's one of those things you can never get out of your mind. So we'll talk about that early on, many other things, some great news with Flynn, and also Palm Beach County moving to open. And of course, they've got some doctor health expert that wants everything to be shut down until no one gets sick again. Oh my goodness. So a lot happening, a lot going on. And of course, still, while we've moved into phase one in most of Florida, no haircuts in Florida. And right now, if you're watching on YouTube, you get a good look at this. If you go through the YouTube videos of the past few weeks, you can see the transition. I am now, because I keep my hair pretty short typically, without being able to get a haircut for I don't know how long now, I am now getting to that really, the beginnings of the awkward phase of not getting a haircut, where you just look ridiculous all the time. Oh my goodness. My wife doesn't want me to get a haircut again. She wants me to let it grow and see what happens. And it's getting to that phase now where anytime I get to the point where I'm at now, I usually run out to the barber shop, but I can't do that now. Even if they move Palm Beach County in the phase one, there will still be no haircuts unless you're a rich member of Congress. Although I have been watching the local news, and it looks like they're getting their hair done on the local news. Maybe I could stop by one of the local news stations and I can get my hair cut. I don't know. So we've got a lot happening, a lot going on. Your calls are welcome in the 8 o'clock hour. Frank, the owner of our Ace Hardware, Deerfield H Hardware, and Beach Ace Hardware, is going to come in studio, talk about retailing during this coronavirus period, and also talk a lot about the great store that is Ace Hardware Deerfield and his other store, Beach Ace Hardware, where I'm a big customer and getting so much work done in my house. My wife is very happy that Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware joined us as sponsors, because since they have been a sponsor, I've been painting and doing all kinds of other things. And actually, I need to go over there, if not this weekend, the beginning of next week. I'm about to start a new project. And so we'll be talking about all this stuff as the show goes on. Your calls are welcome at 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. And also, this is the Friday show, which means this is the most important Steve Kane show of the week, because this is not just our live morning edition on this Friday morning. It's our overnight rebroadcast for the entire weekend. This episode, just on our 4 radio station, airs about 35 times, I'm not exaggerating, over the weekend before we return live to you Monday morning at 6 a.m. So we always want to make sure that the Friday show is the best. This story out of Georgia, I really want to take some calls, because in Georgia, okay, the guys were arrested finally, after all the publicity. And it goes a little bit into what I was talking about yesterday. I know the situations are different, but 2 white guys murder a black man in cold blood in the road, no arrest until there's national publicity. Pretty white woman in Texas gets arrested. Whole nation moves to have her released. Yeah, you know, I'm no liberal. I don't play the race card. But there is a double standard here. And this case in Georgia, I'll read the latest updates on it. And if you've watched the video, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I know it's disturbing to everyone. And if you haven't watched the video of the Georgia shooting, before you watch it, really think about it. You know, when I watched the video this morning, you know what it looked like to me, you know, in Georgia? You know what it looked like to me? It looked as if, say, some people are calling it a lynching, and no doubt about it, it was a lynching. A lynching isn't just by a noose. A lynching is an act. It's not a specific thing with a noose. This was a lynching, and what it looked like was, you know what it looked like? It looked as if slavery, when you watch this video in Georgia, it looked like the Confederacy never fell, that slavery was still going on in Georgia, and in 2020, and it looked like that this was a fugitive slave patrol apprehending an escaped slave from a Georgia plantation. That's what it looked like, with their arrogance. I mean, you can't even begin to describe. It's very disturbing. So if you have not watched the video, think hard about it before you do. There's just some things you can't unsee, and it's so disturbing to me that in 2020 something like this is happening. I mean, this is you got two George Zimmermans here is basically what you have. Two George Zimmermans, but you know, I think George Zimmerman would like to have shot anyone. I don't know if with Zimmerman it was totally racial. I think he just felt important with a gun. These guys, hardcore racist. So here's the latest update. This is in the Daily Mail. Exclusive photos in the Daily Mail show the moment the father and son vigilantes accused of shooting dead unarmed black jogger Ahmaud Arbery were arrested by heavily armed officers in Georgia. I don't know how they can say accused. I mean, we've seen the video, and they did it. A 4-vehicle convoy from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation pulled up outside the home of Gregory and Travis McMichael at 7:50 p.m. Thursday to take the men into custody on charges of murder and aggravated assault. The dramatic arrest comes days after leaked cell phone videos of the fatal confrontation with Arbery in February. By the way, it's February 23rd, and here we are in May, made headlines nationwide, sparking outrage and demands for justice in what the victim's family called a lynching. And there's no question about it, this was a lynching. The shocking footage showed the two men ambushing Arbery as he tried to run past their pickup truck. The younger McMichael getting into a physical fight with Arbery before shooting him with a shotgun. At close range, too. And look to me like basically point blank range, and you shoot someone that close with a shotgun, it's over. The father and son were initially not arrested. Now you tell me that if it was two black men that shot a white guy who was unarmed in the street with a shotgun, that they would not have been arrested February 23rd when it happened. Of course they would have. The father and son were not initially arrested after they claimed they thought Arbery was a burglar after some thefts in the area, and that he attacked them when they tried to make a citizen's arrest. Now, they say his family says he was just jogging. I'll take that for now until we have some evidence to the contrary. But even if he was this neighborhood burglar, which we don't know, but just say that he was, what they still did was murder. A citizen's arrest. Who the hell makes a citizen's arrest? The Georgia Bureau of Investigation took over the investigation Tuesday after the video emerged. Around a dozen officers equipped with bulletproof vests and assault rifles descended on the McMichaels' two-bedroom, $280,000 property in suburban Brunswick to execute arrest warrants Thursday. The attorney who is representing Arbery's parents said it's a huge, huge step, but it's only a first step on a very long road to justice. I know these guys are just racist animals. Officers entered the house just before 8 p.m., emerged minutes later with Gregory McMichael, 64, in handcuffs. Wearing a scruffy black shirt, cap, and jeans, the retired cop stared straight ahead and ignored questions from the Daily Mail as he was placed into a police car. His son Travis, 34, emerged moments later without a struggle, wearing a checkered shirt, cap, and jeans. He said nothing as he was led to a vehicle in handcuffs. Locals emerged from their homes to watch the dramatic swoop, with two people verbally abusing a Daily Mail photojournalist, calling him scum and ordering him to leave. So the neighbors, I guess, are racist too. All right, they don't like the, listen, a lot of people don't like the press, but to yell at the reporters in this instance means that you are in solidarity with these racist animals. Investigators were at the house for about 10 minutes. A middle-aged woman carrying a young child walked out of the family house, looked up down the street before going into a neighbor's home. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation released a statement shortly after saying the two men were arrested on suspicion of murder and aggravated assault. And in a fresh twist, the agency said it was also investigating threats made towards its officers and people involved in the investigation. The attorney representing Arbery's parents said that he had no advance warning about the arrest. And it goes on. And there's some still photographs here. And even after they shot him, he continued to fight back. It won't be long before, because the media are all over this, and they should be, and we when they start going through their social media, I promise you they didn't vote for Stacey Abrams. They chances are they voted for our president. So be ready for that, people. But don't let that get you sidetracked. The George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin issue was a bad one. This is worse, too. This is worse. But that one was bad. And what happened with George Zimmerman, I'll talk about after the break, because I just looked at the clock. And if I get into it, and you got to be very careful not to fall into that same trap with this one. But I want to get into it. But I want to take the break first so I have time to explain it. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll take our first break of this Friday weekend edition of the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about this murder by these two racist, father and son racist team up in Georgia. Man, oh man. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
We talk about charisma. Hormone replacement pellet therapy brings back a lot of things in people, and one of the things I think it brings back is charisma, because I've met many listeners that are patients of Dr. Matez that I've met before they were patients of Dr. Matez, and I notice a big difference. And one thing I notice is a lot of confidence in guys after they start hormone replacement pellet therapy.
I agree with you 100%, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Get your mojo back. It's really what
It
it is.
changes your life. It changes the way you view the world. You know how I put it once? This was years and years ago. Looking at the world after having the hormone therapy, and you look at the world is like a technicolor, and when you give up the hormone therapy, it's like watching the world in black and white. It's just an amazing difference. Like
That's a fantastic analogy.
Isn't it?
It is.
It's true. That's a big difference.
It is. As we get older, we both physically and mentally break down. And we tend to get into a very black and white type of existence, a lot of people. Everybody's different. But when you get your hormone levels back and you get that vigor back, you feel good. Suddenly things are very bright and colorful.
And I experience this myself, and I see it on listeners, is I'll see a guy, and he's like, and then I'll see him after he has become a patient of yours, and with hormone replacement pellet therapy, he seems like he's standing up.
Make sure you guys subscribe, all right?
Strong, confident, 10 feet tall. What is it about hormone replacement pellet therapy that does that to guys?
I believe it's because you're putting God's nectar back.
I know it's a
into
disturbing
your
story,
body,
isn't it?
basically.
I hate to start the show on something so depressing,
In particular,
but I think it's more important than the Flynn story, which is important too. I'll get to that.
What makes not just men men, it's what makes people people, and a lack of it takes all of those things away from you.
So we'll meet with Steve Kane listeners at no charge.
Always.
What is the number they can call to make that appointment?
561-953-5490. 561-953-5490.
Listen to the Steve King Show on Radio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back. And Dr. Matez, he announced on the show yesterday, actually talked about it earlier in the week too. Dr. Mitch Matez, our anti-aging doctor, is offering at his office the antibody test for coronavirus, COVID-19, to find out if you have the antibodies, which means you're immune. So call his office. This is by appointment only. You can't just walk in. Call Dr. Matez's office and ask them about the coronavirus antibody testing that Dr. Matez is offering at his office. 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. And knowing you have the antibodies makes life a lot easier for people, especially older people, people that are high risk and have, due to age or a pre-existing condition. Call Dr. Matez. Talk to them about the antibody test. 561-953-5490. That's Dr. Matez's office. All right, so this racist shooting, you know, these guys may never have been arrested if that video had not gone viral all over the news around the world this week. They'd probably still be walking free. And, you know, most people out there have never encountered real racist. I have been around real racist people in my life. White people, black people, Hispanic people. You know, I have known and encountered in my travels real racist people. And, you know, racist, like these two animals, the father and son team in Georgia, racist typically don't believe they're racist. They don't. They think that they just see reality clearer. You know, so most racists would not tell you they're racist. Now, this relates a little bit to George Zimmerman here in Florida, because George Zimmerman was not arrested for how long? I can't remember how long it was, but it was over a month. It might have been a couple months. I can't remember. And what happened with Zimmerman, we didn't have, so far as the debate in this country, George Zimmerman, what happened was a terrible thing. And this is what happened with Zimmerman. I'm talking about the public support for Zimmerman. When the story came out, they heard his name, Zimmerman, and Neighborhood Watch, and then there were a lot of things going out there about Trayvon Martin that were not true, and including there was a photograph circulating all over the internet and social media that claimed it was a photo of Trayvon Martin, and it wasn't. It was a photo of a rapper. I want to say Common. I can't remember. Anybody remember who it was of, with tattoos all over his face and everything, and it wasn't him. And then there was a lot of misinformation that came out in the early days of that. We didn't have video. We had a newspaper account. It happened in Sanford, which is a small, little tiny town north of Walt Disney World. And people started defending Zimmerman right off the bat because they thought it was a concealed weapon, stand your ground issue. And we later found out it wasn't. It was a clear case of murder. And they had all these things. Oh, well, you know, Trayvon Martin, why was he even in Sanford? He was suspended from school in Miami because he had some stolen items in his possession, supposedly. And none of that matters. George Zimmerman killed him. And he should have gone to jail. And he got away with it because he was overcharged, George Zimmerman. He was charged with premeditated murder. They overcharged him. He got acquitted. George Zimmerman, see, there was one witness to the murder of Trayvon Martin, and George Zimmerman killed the witness. His name was Trayvon Martin, just like there were two witnesses in the O.J. Simpson murder. And neither of them could come to the stand because O.J. killed them, Ron and Nicole. And he got lucky because, Zimmerman got lucky because he was overcharged and there were no witnesses. So there was some reasonable doubt so far as premeditated murder goes. And so many people were defending George Zimmerman in that shooting. And it was a bad time for me in my life. And I'll tell you, and here on the show, we had a lot going on. Steve and I both, at this particular time, during the Trayvon Martin incident and George Zimmerman incident, and I was kind of all over the place on that issue at the time. And a lot of people in the audience were very, very angry at me, and it got nasty. And off the air, I didn't talk about this too much at the time because we had so much going on at once. At the time that the Zimmerman issue was a controversy, I'll just tell you real quick what was going on in my life and Steve's life. Steve and his wife had just split. Steve had prostate cancer and was going through prostate cancer treatment. And my stepfather had just had a massive stroke and was paralyzed in half of his body. And so Steve and I are dealing with all of these personal issues and not really talking about it on the radio because we're dealing with these pretty big personal issues. And then we had this whole George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin thing going on, and people in the audience were so pissed. I didn't know where I was coming or going during those days. It was some tough times. But I have never been so disappointed in conservative Second Amendment defenders as I was during that, because it had nothing to do with concealed carry. It was not a threat to concealed carry. George Zimmerman is an animal, and he killed a kid. I don't care if Trayvon Martin was 6'2" or however tall he was a child. George Zimmerman's an adult, and he was doing nothing wrong. He was walking home from the convenience store to his dad's apartment where he lived. This story here in Georgia, we don't have a lot of the details about what happened, okay? So far as this burglary. This father and son racist duo say they were attempting to make a citizen's arrest because they believed he was this burglar that had been burglarizing the neighborhood and that he resisted. Well, who the hell, you know what? He was smart to resist because these guys had guns and they shot him without thinking about it. I thought citizen's arrest went out like in the 1800s. Is a citizen's arrest still a thing in society? Because if it is, it needs to end. But think about it. Here you are, jogging down the street. Now, again, even if he's the burglar, it doesn't matter. Like George Zimmerman, you pick up the phone, you call 911. Right? Remember, George Zimmerman was a neighborhood watch. You observe, and you call the popo. These guys, the same thing. If they truly thought he was this burglar, they could have kept an eye on him while they were calling the police, kept an eye on him while they waited for the police to arrive. This citizen's arrest business is a bunch of nonsense. And so far as resisting, you got two guys that you don't know coming up to you in a pickup truck while you're walking or jogging down the street, and they tell you you're under arrest. Who the hell do they think they are? I think I think anyone would think that they were going to be a victim of something if two guys came up to them like that. Who the hell would say, okay, you people with shotguns, I don't know who you are, there's no badge, I only see guns, you're telling me I'm under citizen's arrest? Oh yeah, sure, here, okay. We've never seen anything like this. Now, this one, because it involved a shotgun, shotguns are not a part of any gun control legislation, really. You know, whenever people talk about gun control, they talk about handguns, they talk about assault rifles and semi-autos. No one talks about shotguns. Shotguns, in fact, to own a shotgun, you only have to be 18 years old to own a shotgun, and shotgun's a pretty deadly weapon. But, these two guys... and now this is crazy, but look at the reaction of the community. You know, these two guys could walk free, like George Zimmerman. You know that, right? I mean, how many of you actually thought George Zimmerman would be found not guilty? I didn't. You know who else I don't think George Zimmerman thought he was going to be found not guilty. These two guys could easily be found not guilty if they're tried in their community. Look at the reaction of the neighbors to the press. So I hope we don't have a replay of Zimmerman. I hope there's justice here. I hope a prosecutor doesn't... a lot of times I think prosecutors overcharge people hoping they'll get an acquittal. You know, I think that happened in the Zimmerman case. They brought a prosecutor from Jacksonville, which was hours away. Man, I tell you, this story is sick, isn't it? It's sick. You know what's sick? The whole thing is sick. But here, February 23rd, so we had all of April, and now we're in May. 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks later, they're finally arrested, and only because it became a global story. It's not because of the video, it's because the video became public worldwide. That's why they were arrested. And I would not be surprised if they're acquitted. I would not be surprised. I mean, remember the African immigrant in New York that the police shot over 160 times? Was it Diallo? Was that the Diallo? There's so many of these incidents. They don't happen as often as they used to, thankfully. Remember, he was in the doorway in New York? Those cops were acquitted. One of them went on to become a New York City fireman. Remember that? They were acquitted. They shot at him over 160 times. They thought he had a gun. He had no gun. He had a wallet. They thought it might have been a wallet gun, which I never had heard of before that incident. Man, oh man, I tell you. You know, and there is, without question, racism is still alive in this country, and it's a terrible thing. You know, I was talking yesterday, I wasn't even thinking about this case, because I'd not seen the video and things. When I was talking about the hairdresser, I support the hairdresser. I was comparing her. She's a Rosa Parks-like figure, and certainly she is to a certain extent. And I was asking the question, if the hairdresser wasn't white, blonde, and pretty, would she have so much support? Now, I'll ask that question again, keeping in mind what's going on in Georgia. Does everyone agree that if the races were reversed and this was a black father and son who shot a white guy in the street like this with a shotgun, that they would have been arrested February 23rd and charged when it happened? Of course they would have. Man, oh man. Crazy world, isn't it? It's a crazy world. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Thankfully, this guy wasn't a concealed weapon permit holder. You know, if this guy that they murdered, and there's no question, 100% racism, if he was a concealed weapon permit holder and he had a gun on him, the jogger, would they have been arrested and charged yesterday? Probably not. And I've talked about this sometimes, and sometimes people get upset with me about this, but I don't carry a concealed weapon. I know everyone on the radio that's a conservative. Oh, I'm a Second Amendment NRA. I own guns, but I don't carry one with me. I think it's a bit much in most instances. I mean, depending on what I did, if I was going around collecting rent or something, I might. But having a gun, you know, I'm all for the Second Amendment. Do not misunderstand me. I do not support any liberal gun control. But having a gun in certain situations escalates things many times, including concealed weapons. I mean, for example, if this father and son didn't have their guns, although it was a shotgun, I don't know what other guns were involved. Shotguns don't involve any of the concealed weapon business we talk about. But if the father and son were unarmed, this wouldn't have happened. They may have still tried to stop him, and there might have been a physical confrontation, but he'd be alive, and they would not have been arrested for murder. Guns take things to a new level so many times. And don't misunderstand me. You know, I'm all for gun ownership, but I'm a responsible gun owner. A lot of guys like this are not. You don't see me riding around in the bed of a pickup truck around town holding one of my rifles. It's crazy town to do something like that. Crazy. You know? George Zimmerman, if he did not have a gun that night, we never would have heard of him. And Trayvon Martin would be alive and 20-something years old today, however long ago that was. You know? So, you know, I support zero gun control legislation that any Democrat proposes. Do not misunderstand me. But there's too many idiots out there with guns walking around. And I tell you, if I were black, I would not have a concealed weapon permit, and I would not carry a gun outside of my home. I'm telling you, if this guy had a gun, these two racists would not have been arrested. If he was a law-abiding concealed weapon permit holder, these two racist jerks would not have been arrested yesterday. It is, in so many instances in this country, I think it's very difficult to be a black man in America, especially a young black man in America. In many instances, certainly in this neighborhood in Georgia. All right, let's take our break. 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all the things I brought up so far this morning. 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. We'll take our break, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This is Steve Kane. I'm here chatting with Dr. Troy Lemaski, my personal chiropractor. Dr. Troy, how are you?
They have the right, but
Chiropractic
would you?
art. All the nerves in your body go through your spine. If your spine's out of line, the nerves get pinched.
It's like I have the right, but I
You
don't.
have all
Carry.
kinds of symptoms and all kinds of pain as a result of that. And until you get that spine realigned, you're going to be in pain.
100% correct. If you have a joint, especially in your back, that's stuck, that's not moving properly, it will put pressure not only possibly on nerves, but more of the time on soft tissue structures such as the ligaments, the muscles, and it will create pressure. There are nerves within the joint called mechanoreceptors, and they will affect the actual nerves that are in the joint. Pinched nerves are very common, and they do come from spinal misalignment, but not everybody that has a problem has a pinched nerve.
I've been seeing you for a relatively short period of time, and you have the healing touch, I'll tell you that. When I walk out of your office, I feel like a whole new person. I know you take great care of everybody, but I know you're going to go that extra mile for our wonderful Steve Kane listeners. Doctor, give them the number of the office where they can make an appointment.
It's Coast Chiropractic Injury and Wellness Center, and the phone number is 954-463-3036. 954.
Have you seen the video?
3036. We're located in East
Watch the
Florida
video.
now. We're just one block of US 1 and Oakland Park Boulevard, right off Middle River Drive. The address is 2510 East Oakland Park Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale.
Dr. Troy Lemaski, a great healer. Make an appointment today. This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel, and one of the most important
I've never seen anything like that.
sponsors is integrity. And you have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust in
I'm not telling anybody what to do. I said if I were a black man, I would not carry a gun.
And you know, Barry says every 3
Legal, I wouldn't do it.
I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. So I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, you know, most people would just blow you off, right? You know, almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on.
Good morning, everyone. It is awful. I mean, it's disturbing.
On this and that, but I wanted to say, you know, character, integrity. These are the most.
I didn't say have one at home. I'm talking about being out.
Because I've dealt with a lot of them. They all have that you can trust them, and you know you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel.
This is my don't cough on me shirt. Okay? It says don't cough on me.
FLA 3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA 3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
Now stand back during the next break. You can see. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. I got to tell you, Dr. Troy Lemaski, he is a miracle worker. I've had 2 adjustments by him, one in my lower back, one in my neck and shoulders, and he's a miracle worker when it comes to pain. I first went, I guess about 6 weeks, 2 months ago, about a month and a half ago. I was having severe back pain. I couldn't stand up straight. I was walking around like a hunchback. I was in massive pain, and it was in my lower back. During the show, I wouldn't even get out of my chair a couple of days for the whole 3 hours to go to the bathroom during a break. It hurt so bad to get up, and it was that kind of back pain that's so bad that it's like just puts you to sleep kind of pain. It was very difficult, and I'd been complaining about it to Steve. And after the show on a Friday, he said, listen, follow me over to Dr. Troy Lemaski's office in Fort Lauderdale. His office, by the way, is on Oakland Park Boulevard, just east of US 1 Federal Highway. And I talked to Dr. Troy. We call him Dr. Troy to not confuse him with his sister, Dr. Janae Lemaski, my therapist, Steve's therapist. And I told him what the problem was. He says, okay. He gave me an adjustment. I got up off the table on my lower back, just did the lower back adjustment. It was very gentle. I barely even felt it. I was standing up straight. The pain was gone. And here I am, it's 6 or 8 weeks later, because it was a Friday after the show. 6, 8 weeks later, the pain has not returned after one adjustment. And I told Dr. Troy Lemaski, I said, I used to go to chiropractors all the time. I had not gone in about 10 years. And the reason I stopped going is I would get adjustments and it would hurt. And I thought that's just the way it was supposed to be. But I felt like after I went for an adjustment that I'd been beaten up. And he says a lot of chiropractors don't know how to adjust. So they try to make up with it in brute strength. And he's very gentle, and the pain was gone. And I went with Steve last Friday I was very tense. There's a global pandemic going on, a lot of stress going on. And my shoulder area was so tense, it was like dried concrete. And I went in for my second adjustment, and boom, gone. Gone. I mean, gone. And when I went in for that first adjustment, I was about 2 inches taller, and my posture was corrected. It was amazing. I went home, picked up my daughter, we went to the store, and she says, Dad, you're standing up straight. And she didn't even know I'd gone to the chiropractor. And I said, yeah. And the pain completely gone, and it stayed gone since that one adjustment. So listen, if you have any type of pain, not just back, any type of joint pain, knee pain, neck pain, back pain of any kind, any joint pain, call Dr. Troy Lemaski. He is a miracle worker, I'm here to tell you. If you've had a car accident or an injury, definitely call him. I'm here to tell you, he is a miracle worker. My pain is gone. It's not returned. He's listed at SteveCaneShow.com. Here's his number, 954-463-3036. 954-463-3036. Dr. Troy Lemaski, chiropractor. Make sure you tell him you heard about him on the radio. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Oh, hey, Brian. This is Hank from Hollywood. How you doing?
All right, Hank.
I wanted to comment on the thing in Georgia. You were talking about if there's citizens arrest, there shouldn't be citizens arrest, something to that nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In Georgia, because I was listening to a program yesterday, in Georgia, apparently there is a statute that they're allowed to do a citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
But it also states that me and you, for argument's sake, we just can't arrest somebody. But if me and you actually see somebody doing a crime, but we have to actually see it, and it has to actually be happening, then we can detain somebody and wait for somebody. But that's not what happened here at all with this young man and these two guys.
Yeah, did you see the video? Oh, it's awful. It's awful. This is what, I said this at 6, I'll say it because it's very important. When I saw this video, to me, this is what the fugitive slave patrols look like in the 1800s when a slave escaped a plantation in Georgia. It looked like that. And they were so arrogant in their confidence that they were doing the right thing. Chasing him in a pickup truck with a shotgun. It is sick. And so far as citizens arrest, I guess it's, to me in the modern era, citizens arrest were a thing before 911, before telephones, okay? In this day and age, help is just moments away when you call the police, and you can wait. You can call and you can wait. I've called 911 and I've waited on more than one incident where I've called police and I've waited. You can do that.
Yeah. Well, I agree with the citizen's arrest thing. I just don't agree with, all of a sudden you think you're Wyatt Earp and you could take a gun, and I don't agree with that at all. But I'm
No.
Second Amendment guy through and through, but what these guys did had nothing to do with the Second Amendment.
Yeah, they shot him twice. You know, if the father and son were black and they killed and everything else was the same except that the jogger was white, do you think they would have been arrested the day of the shooting, or would it be 6 weeks later?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Same neighbors that were all taking the media away, they'd be screaming the loudest.
Well, now we know why they fought so hard to keep the Confederate flag as part of the Georgia state flag up there years ago. Yeah.
You know what? That's just, and it's not just everybody in Georgia. It's not. It's just a certain amount of the human race. Whether you're black, white, Chinese, Japanese, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a certain percentage of your race or population, whatever term you want to use. You're going to have a certain percentage that are racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
These people fall into that certain.
Yeah. No doubt about it. I mean, these are. All right, appreciate the call, Hank. Yeah, that by the way, that's Hank from the Dr. Gupta commercial that you'll hear on the show from time to time. Yeah, it's disturbing. Now, someone in the chat room said during the commercial break, because I was talking about if I were a black man, I wouldn't carry a gun with a concealed weapons permit, and they said black men are allowed to carry guns, and then I think I'm like, no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because you're already in a lot of danger in situations just because you're there and you're black. And if this guy had a concealed weapon permit in Georgia and had a gun concealed under his clothes, these guys would never have been arrested, and he would be just as dead today as he was without the gun, with these two guys. When they stopped him, he was not getting out of that alive. And I think they probably knew it. And it's a scary world. It's a scary world. Listen, I know short segment. I'm gonna take this break on time so it can remain on schedule. There's much more to talk about. There's some other issues I want to get into, but I want to hear your thoughts on this Georgia shooting as well. Our number 1-888-GO-CANE-1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Let's take that break. We'll be back.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Gaines tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a 25% chance that you'll develop a foot ulcer that can lead to severe health consequences, including amputation. At the sole authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own therapeutic shoes and custom inserts. Medicare recipients are entitled to 1 pair of quality diabetic shoes and 3 custom inserts. Call the sole authority today, 954-597-7060.
So you've been told you need a health test. What are you going to have to pay? Health tests can be very expensive. If you go to your doctor's office or one of the big labs, it can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had lab tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs' goal is to get you all the lab tests you need, save you money, and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, you never need an appointment, no doctor's order or prescription needed either. You can walk right in and have any of their thousands of lab tests done for just a fraction of the price the big labs or your doctor's office charge. Give them a call, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of
the one guy's a retired officer, they're saying.
Coral Square Mall. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Private and affordable lab testing. 954-906-5983.
Listen to the Steve Gaines Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, 48 minutes after the hour. By the way, there are a lot of Any Lab Test Nows, but only 2 advertising on the Steve Kane Show. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs and Any Lab Test Now of Boca, where they guarantee the lowest price on all of their thousands of lab tests. I go there. My wife go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca. My daughter goes to Any Lab Test Now of Boca. Main reason my wife and daughter go, and I go too, is there are prescriptions. And you got to get regular blood work for certain prescriptions. Boom, that's where we go. And it's cheaper than the office visit copay most of the time for a lot of people, depending on what test you have done. No appointment, no doctor's order, everything confidential, nothing goes on your medical record. I'm going to give you the number for the Boca location, but you can call this number if you have questions about Coral Springs too, all right? Both locations listed at stevekaneshow.com. 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Boca, located in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, on the east side of 441 State Road 7, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University Drive in Ramblewood, near the Coral Square Mall. Both open on Saturdays. All right, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Ike.
Hey, Ike. How you doing?
Yeah, Brian, I disagree with you about that shooting. In my opinion, it was a clear-cut self-defense shooting.
Are we talking about the one in Georgia? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, what happened was, yeah, those guys were on the truck with the gun. I believe they did it simply, certain of the guns will keep anything from escalating, any kind of violence, if they're good.
To me, it looked like they were chasing him down. I mean, this looked like a scene out of a movie. It looked like they were chasing him down the street in the pickup.
He was between 2 vehicles, them and whoever was.
You can't go around detaining people if you're not a police officer. I feel like you're pulling my leg, Ike, because you and I talk a lot, and I. No, they shot him. They didn't detain him. They killed him.
This what happened. Did you see video?
I did this morning, right before the show.
Okay, watch it again. What you'll see is, all right, when the guy was approaching the vehicle, at first he was like approaching the driver's side. He saw the kid, the son with the gun. He immediately kind of crossed over to the right side, but he kind of hugged the truck. He didn't try to avoid it. He took, as soon as he got to the...
where does the self-defense come in? Because he was unarmed and they were 2 guys with guns.
If you listen to the story, he came from the front of a truck, and immediately it seemed almost like a football instinctive move. He made a straight line toward the shooter, and he used the truck as a shield. He was using the truck as a shield, and he attacked the guy. I mean, at that point, I think they were going to talk to him. I think they had the guns, and I don't think they were going to...
Well, I don't know what you're, listen, I don't know exactly what you saw. It's not what I saw, but let's just say they did attack him. Like for example, in Trayvon Martin's case, I do believe Trayvon probably attacked first George Zimmerman because he was scared to death and he had this creepy fat guy stalking him. In this instance, he had these 2 racist white boys with guns that were chasing him in a truck. If he attacking someone physically like that is not something you respond with a shotgun blast with. And what about the second shot? They shot twice, right? I mean, after someone shot once with a shotgun, you shoot him again?
They were fighting over the gun. Did you see that part?
Well, I would imagine, if so, you're telling me where do you live again? Where do you live again, Ike? You're in Fort Lauderdale, right? So if you are on the street, walking down the street in Fort Lauderdale, and 2 white guys drive up in a pickup truck with a shotgun, and are yelling at you and pointing at you, you're not going to maybe try to get that shotgun away from them because you're afraid you're going to get shot?
I'm not going to approach a gun. If I see a gun, I'm going to immediately stop. I'm not going to continue in the practice going directly at the gun. I wouldn't do that. I'd hopefully have my phone on me. I call it 911 immediately.
All right. Yeah, well, I don't think he had time to call 911.
just watch the video again.
I'll watch it again. I'll watch it again. And let me see if I can pull it up now while we're talking. Because I do have the... I'll see if we can pull it up now while we're talking. Hold on. Let me see if they got it here in this story I'm looking at in the Daily Mail. Let's see here. I think this is where I saw it earlier. I'll watch it again. I don't want to watch it. I saw it once, and that was enough. It's so... Yeah.
And as I analyzed it, the black guy, he could have avoided it. He didn't have to attack.
Okay, now I'm watching it now. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I see. This is at the Daily Mail. They're driving down the street in their truck. The soon-to-be dead black man is jogging down the street. Now, this is in silence. There's no audio on this video. Okay, so that makes it... So we can't hear what's being said. He's in front of a truck. There's a fight going on. The guy in the white pickup truck, I guess, is watching. He's fighting the guy with the shotgun. And he just got shot. So now the guy... I got to tell you, I just watched it again. The guy he was fighting with in front of the white truck, the white guy in front of the white truck, he's the one that shot him. He had the shotgun. So he pointed his shotgun at him, and yeah, he did fight him because he was afraid he was going to get shot. And you know what? He was right. He got shot, I think, twice.
Did the video?
If somebody comes up to you with a shotgun on the street, if you attack them, it seems to me that's self-defense. That, you know, if someone's pointing a shotgun at you and you go for the gun, that's not self-defense? What is it then?
He wasn't pointing the gun at him when he attacked him. The gun was that.
You really can't see because he's in front of the pickup truck. When the person filming comes up after the confrontation began, so we don't see what happened in the beginning. We see them come from the front of the truck where they're obstructed, and they're fighting over the gun because this redneck is pointing the shotgun at him. And then he shot him.
There's a lapse in the video when he disappeared for a second. That was his plan.
Okay. All right, Ike. I'm a little surprised to hear a black man in the South talk the way you are about this incident, I must tell you.
It's self-defense. I mean, Trayvon Martin, that was...
How is it self-defense when he was unarmed and the guy he's fighting with has a shotgun pointed at him?
Did you see he was beating that guy with the shotgun?
Yeah, because the guy was threatening him and he was going to shoot him, and he did.
That guy, though.
Okay.
Who's that one?
Well, if you move to Georgia, maybe you can be on the jury. If you were on the jury, would you vote not guilty for these guys?
I would have to. I don't think it should go to...
You know, I'll tell you something, too, about this video. Now, this is an interesting thing. The video was filmed by somebody else in another vehicle that sped up to the situation. Why was that person filming forward on their cell phone at the time? Did they know there was something going on there? What was happening? How did this get filmed?
I mean, anybody, if you're running out, what happened was they said the guy, eventually, they came up to...
No. The cell phone video wasn't from... hold on. The videotape wasn't from was not from the scene where the confrontation happened. It was someone in another vehicle that was out of visual range who sped up and was filming on the way there and caught the final moment. So I'd like to know why they were filming, why they had the phone on filming, and why they drove there. It looked like a high rate of speed. How did they know something was going on?
They were driving slow. They were driving...
I don't know, man. You know what I think a lot of people would call you, Ike? Listening to this call, Uncle Tom.
Nah, if they watch the video,
I think a lot of people would call you that. I mean, the way you're talking, I mean, I just can't I've never called anyone that, and I'm not calling you that. I would never do that. But I'm shocked.
It don't matter. I mean, the fact is, watch the video.
I just wonder, because you call the show from time to time, and you're always disagreeing with me. I just wonder if this is an instinct. I'm just wondering if this is an instinct for you to disagree with me.
I told you, me and my brother got into it about that last night. We were out there on the phone about it. And slowly, as he kept... There were different videos. Certain videos didn't show everything, but he did get the one I think you saw. And
Well, I'm very curious about the person filming. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. And as this story progresses, call in and keep giving us your thoughts and analysis as more things develop over the days and weeks with this story, because it's going to be around for a while. All right, Ike? Okay, let's go to Richie, the bus driver.
boy, I want to say this to you, okay? I'm in shock. I'm in shock with you, okay?
Oh my gosh, this is like the days of the Trayvon Martin case. I'm in shock that no one's agreeing with me here.
No, why should we agree with you? I hear what's coming out of your mouth is total racism, and it's really disgusting. First of all, you say redneck. How the hell do you know they were redneck?
Well, there are a couple of they look like they. Hold on, you asked. Let's stop. They look to me. They look like a couple of good old boys in a pickup truck with shotguns in Georgia.
That's reverse racism right off the bat. Stereotype these guys in Georgia with a pickup truck. Two white guys are all of a sudden racist.
You don't think? Let me ask you. Do you think that these two? Do you think this father and son are a couple of good old boys?
I'm telling you right
Come on.
now, that's exactly your attitude, which you don't know. This is where you're prejudging something you have no clue about. You don't even know whether it was actually murder in the first degree, whether they're going to be charged with murder in the first degree, or whether the pressure of the community because of the outrage. I think it was a terrible thing when I saw it, but what you're saying is totally out of control. And the redneck from Georgia and the guy who shot because he was only black, like two rednecks, that's as reverse racism I've ever seen in my lifetime. This is coming out of your mouth. I don't know whether you're doing this just to get people.
Have you seen the video? Have you seen the video?
Video, and that doesn't prove that the guy was shot because he was black. And you're assuming all this crap. This is what goes on in this country.
Well, what? Okay, you've seen the video. What is your analysis, Richie?
My analysis is, well, I listened to this guy that just talked to you just now, which
Ike.
Ike, and I don't know whether this guy was a thief, whether he was caught, whether.
It doesn't matter if he was a thief. It doesn't matter if he was a thief. You don't travel around. You don't ride around in a pickup truck with a shotgun looking for neighborhood thieves.
There are people that do ride around with shotguns and in their trucks. There are people that ride around with what do you call it?
Listen, hold on a second here. Listen. I've had people in my family with the shotgun rack in the back of the pickup truck. Okay, but this shotgun was not in a rack. It was in the guy's hand, and he was in the street standing in front of the truck, and he had the gun pointed at the person that he murdered shortly after that.
First of all, it was the woods. First of all, there was a fight that went on before all the shooting happened. Secondly, the fact is that you're assuming because he's black, he got shot, and these are two racist rednecks, which is totally out of control. That's all I'm saying to you.
All right.
But you know what was the guy's heart when they shot him? You knew what was going on. You're assuming all this crap. If I was a lawyer and had you in court, I would put you. You'd be walking out with your tail between your legs because your assumptions don't.
Well, my assumptions are based on what we know now. There may be more information, but listen, hold on a second, Richie. Listen, more information may come out. And I am open to new information, but I am giving an opinion based on what I know now.
You're stoking the flames of racism.
Well, what am I supposed to do? I can't wait until the case has been adjudicated to talk about it on the radio.
The black, two white guys and a black.
Okay, Richie. If the father and son were black and the jogger was white and they shot him, would they have been arrested? Excuse me, would they have been arrested on February 23rd, or would they have been arrested yesterday like these good old boys were?
You don't know whether it's racist or not. What if it was two white guys and a white guy that shot?
Well, what I think what you would do is what I would do. If you thought this was the neighborhood burglar, you would call the police and you would wait. And you might hang back to keep an eye on the guy so you could tell the police where he went, but I don't think you would get out with a shotgun. Oh, sorry, I lost Richie's call. Did he hang up on me? Oh my goodness. Richie is plenty ticked off. Oh my goodness. All right, listen, we'll take our break. 2 minutes after 7. I'm Brian Craig. I'm a little surprised by the last two callers. I thought that my opinion on this was pretty mainstream and not controversial. All right, hour number 2 is going to begin right now. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. That's the number. 888-465-2631. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Frank, the owner of Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, wants you and your family to be protected during the coronavirus pandemic and has an incredible offer for listeners.
Yeah, this says,
of the show.
I don't know if you can see it. Don't cough on me. Don't tread on me. Don't cough on me.
Cleaning supplies. Everybody's looking for face masks. So the best thing that we can come up with
I don't know.
is face covering. A lot of the cities are going to ask you to cover your face.
Very
So
strange.
Bandanas. I love every one of your customers that come in a free bandana just for mentioning the Steve Kane Show. The bandanas are face covering, and the cities are going to require.
Yeah, it's
as
funny.
we start to go back to work and get out, that everyboed
Well, thank you, Stanley. You guys call in. I need some support here. Either side, you're welcome to call in.
Protect you and protect all those around you. The other thing is, while you're at home, why don't you get that honeydew list done? It's that cleaning project or sprinkler supply, or maybe treat yourself to a new growth.
Wow, what a great deal. These bandanas are reusable because you can wash them. So stop into Ace Hardware in Deerfield, just south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of US 1, and Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232
Oh,
Commercial
Kathy, we
Boulevard,
both went to block that
Lauderdale
person
by
at the
sea.
same time.
And get your free bandana from
You
Ace
blocked
Hardware.
them, and I didn't have the block option, so I put them in timeout.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his
Steve Kane
experience
Show.
with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel.
Hey,
and one of the most important things about
Oh, my goodness.
sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach for my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And Barry says every 3 years at least you gotta. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now,
I didn't call him that. I said a lot of people would. I specifically said I wouldn't call him that. I don't use that.
I asked my questions and so on, and he answered.
I said a lot of people listening would, Becky. I didn't say he was. Big difference.
I want to say, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them, they all have that you can trust them and you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now.
Hey, Kathy, my wife's up in there.
1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll-free FLA-3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
You are listening to South Florida's running radio show, The Steve Kane Show.
You can't leave
Call the
race
show
out. The whole
toll-free.
thing's about race.
Dial
The guys weren't arrested
1-888-GO-CANE.
for a February 23rd shooting.
That's 1-888-CANE-1.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Hour number 2 has begun. Hurricane season is June 1st. Man, hurricane season's coming up. And if you're a homeowner or a business owner, you need to call Debbie over at I Will Advisors. Talk to Debbie and her team about your homeowner's insurance, or if you have commercial property, your property and casualty insurance. You want to make sure before a hurricane, you see it on Channel 7 coming down Hurricane Alley, you want to make sure that you and your home are properly protected in case a hurricane strikes. You want to make sure that what you want covered is covered if a hurricane hits. You do. You want to make sure you're not paying too much. She'll review your policy at no charge. Her number, you can call anytime. Call right now. Leave a message. Debbie and her team, they will call you back during business hours. If you're an overnight listener over the weekend, call over the weekend. Leave a message. They'll get back to you Monday. 954-753-8080. Hurricane season is right around the corner. June 1st. Man, and America's having a lot of bad luck right now. That's all. I heard it's going to be rainy over the weekend. Oh, my goodness. Let's just pray we don't get a hurricane. But you know what? I take care of my homeowner's insurance. I have the proper hurricane coverage. But you may not. Debbie will find out for you at no charge. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. All right. Jeff in Maine, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, Brian, I'm pretty sick and tired of hearing these people
Steve Kane Show.
defending these two white piece of crap racists. Their lives were not in danger in any shape, form, or manner and had no right to pull a weapon on them, let alone shoot them.
Yeah. Have you seen the video?
I just saw it, and because we didn't see what happened before, but if someone's running down the street with no weapon in their hand, number one, you don't have a right to detain another human being unless they committed a felony and you witnessed it.
Yeah, there's a few questions I have here that aren't really being asked. Why did it take so long for the video to become public? The second question is, the person who took the video was not there. They drove there. Why were they recording on their phone this video, front-facing through the windshield? Did they know something was going on or not? If they did, how did they know? What was going on? To me, it's some of the most disturbing racism I've ever seen when I watched that video. I'm sorry. The guy was running down the street for his life, literally. I don't understand Richie, and I certainly don't understand Ike.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
When they were talking that bullcrap, you're right. If you're not a police officer to detain someone unless you witness them commit a felony, and it's because someone's running down the street and you think he might have done something, you won't have a right to pull a weapon on him, let alone shoot an unarmed man. What is wrong with the people taking the side of those white two racists?
Yeah. And like I say, even if he was the neighborhood burglar, which we don't know, I mean, they say no. Even if he was, what they did was wrong, not justified, and it's murder. I just hope they don't overcharge them like they did George Zimmerman. I just hope they charge, because George Zimmerman was charged with premeditated murder. He just decided right there on the spot, this jerk, George Zimmerman. I hope they're charged properly to not give the jury an ability to go not guilty. But, these two guys, you hear the phone calls, and you hear the way the neighbors reacted when they were arrested. These two guys, if they're tried in their community, could be acquitted.
But we got to hope for justice to prevail.
Well, listen, more information is going to come out, and I am open to change my opinion and views on everything as more things come out. I'm not dug in and say this is no matter what comes. I'm open to anything that comes out, and I want justice done. But based on what we know right now, this is probably the most racist incident ever caught on color recording video, certainly in the 21st century. I mean, this is the kind of thing this is like Mississippi burning going on here. It's a lynching. It looks like a lynching to me.
Execution.
Well, that's what a lynching is. Yeah, it's exactly what it was. Yeah.
This point does it mean there's one of two things going to happen. I'm going to take that from you and beat the heck out of you, or you're going to have to shoot and kill me. Because if I've done nothing wrong, I'm not going to sit there and take that.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think? Why do you think we're getting defenders of these two guys on the phones this morning?
I'm floored. I'm floored, Brian. I don't understand it one bit.
Yeah. Richie's one thing, but Ike is a black man in South Florida. I was pretty stunned at Ike's call. That was shocking call.
I absolutely was too, Brian.
Yeah. All right, Jeff in Maine, thanks so much. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Tabit. How are you, Brian?
What's your name again?
This is Tabit.
Tabit. Oh, okay. Tabit with the Jag. Okay.
How you doing, man?
All right.
First of all, I want to give you kudos, man, for putting information out about Fauci, because I don't believe enough folks are doing that. I want you to, when you get a chance, man, go on YouTube and put in Plandemic documentary.
Yeah, I've seen it. A lot of people have been sending that to me. I watched it. It's pretty good stuff. Yeah, I've seen it. Let's talk about what's on the table now.
Well, what's on the table? I can't comment too much about the video. I didn't see it, but I will say it's tragic and it's actually nothing new.
But when you say it's nothing new, what does that mean to you?
Well, our people have been getting shot down, man. And the only thing that's a great thing is that we have a camera we have these phones now can capture it on video. I mean, just recently, not too long ago, you remember when the officer shot the guy right in the back, running away? I forgot what the state that was in. But
Oh yeah, that was I know which one you're talking. The guy that was delinquent on child support. What I mean, look at that incident here in South Florida a couple years ago, where the cop shot the unarmed black man in Jupiter on the off ramp at I-95.
my point, it's never stopped happening. The thing is that we have it on video now, but I'm more concerned about my people in our communities, the numbers that we're shooting each other. You know, until that stops, we'll never get respect. Because see, in this country, Brian, as you know, if a foundation and the fabric was conquered on racism and white supremacy, it will never go away. And that's why you have people like, I think Richie, the bus driver, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think he was a staunch supporter of Zimmerman as well. And so what happens is, he's screaming, but what's interesting is this. I know you guys...
Well, what was different was there's a lot of differences between this and Zimmerman. We didn't have if we had a videotape like this with Zimmerman, I think things would have come out. See, I believe Trayvon probably attacked Zimmerman first, but Zimmerman was stalking him at night in the rain, and Zimmerman had a gun, and Trayvon was scared. And you know, this guy in Georgia that was murdered, he may have gone for that shotgun and attacked the guy, but he had a look. That's a 12 gauge. Had a 12 gauge pointed at him in the street. You know, and we might find out that this guy was the criminal, was the burglar, and all this stuff. But even if he was the burglar, what they did was wrong and not appropriate. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Let me ask you something. In the case of Zimmerman, we had audio. Okay, he's not a police officer.
Not really. No, we had some distance audio of Zimmerman screaming like a girl, but we didn't have audio of the incident really.
No, I'm not talking about that audio. I'm talking about the 911 officer.
Oh yeah.
Down.
Yeah.
Staying down.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something else. When I was growing up, I was taught by my dad, if somebody is in your personal space, if you feel threatened, yes, you do strike first, okay? And then you get the hell out of there. But I'm going to tell you something also.
Yeah, like Cobra Kai, strike first, strike hard, right? Is that what Cobra Kai?
And I know you hate this, I know you guys hate this term, but I'm going to explain it to you. When you say white privilege, when you talk about why they wasn't arrested, Zimmerman wasn't arrested, it's white privilege is like, for instance, some folks don't realize it, that it's so embedded, it's in their subconscious mind. For instance, Hinckley shot the president of the most powerful nation in the world. But but because of Hinckley's father being so powerful, Hinckley never went to jail.
Well, Hinckley did go to jail. He's been released. John Hinckley, crazy as it is, he's free these days. But he went to he was incarcerated with. I'm pretty sure he was incarcerated with Chapman, the guy that shot John Lennon. I could be wrong about that, but I think they were incarcerated together in the mental ward of a prison. But you know, let me slow you down a little bit. Did you hear the call in the last hour from Ike?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that? That was a stunning call.
Okay, before I go there, though, I'm going to make my point. Hinckley did not go to jail. He went to an institution where he was able to walk around in Washington, D.C. I have a house in D.C. It's called St. Elizabeth. And so he never went to prison, and he's at home with his mother.
No, he should be locked up. John Hinckley being released from incarceration and living at home with his mother, and he can travel around and around town just like anybody else, as long as he adheres to social distancing guidelines, John Hinckley. It's disgusting. But I want to hear your thoughts on the caller Hank at the end of the last hour.
I'm going to close with this. My point is, how about the death penalty for Hinckley?
He won't talk about. I can't talk about 1981, man. We're in 2020. But anyway, appreciate the call. He doesn't want to talk about Hank. All right, listen, we'll take our first break of the second hour. My name's Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE 1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll break and be back. Don't go anywhere.
When you need drug or STD testing, you want to keep it private. After all, it's no one's business but yours. At any lab test now of Boca Raton, they guarantee the lowest price on all of their thousands of tests. And all their testing is completely confidential. Drug and STD testing start at just $49. Drug testing results are available on the spot. No appointment necessary, no doctor's order or prescription, and be in and out in 15 minutes or less. Any lab test now of Boca Raton is located at 23016 Sandalfoot Plaza on the east side of 441, just a few doors down from Western Beef. If you have any questions, call 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any lab tests now of Boca Raton. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
You're stuck in your home and the dog days of summer are coming. It's already happening on the hot days in the late afternoon and early evenings. Your air conditioner is running more and more. It may even run constantly, struggling to keep your home cool and hold the temperature.
Make sure you all subscribe if you're not subscribed.
It can't even keep up, losing the battle, and the temperature in your house climbs, and you're hot, humid, and uncomfortable.
Kathy, you in there? My wife. I sent you a text. Did you get it?
Or even triple. Here comes summer. The cure is reflective and/or blown insulation. Stop the heat gain and cut your electric bill up to 35% off. Act now and get the pandemic special. Our off-season sale. Act now. Save 50% on reflective and/or blown insulation and cut your electric bill up to 35%. Call Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com at 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500. CutMyKilowatts.com. Put your house in the shade today.
95.3 FM.
Where is that commercial?
96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Where? There's a commercial I can't find that I was looking for. All right, welcome back, one and all. My name is Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. I don't know, can you guys hear the train in the background? Every day around this time, ever so, there's a freight train that comes by the studio. And if you're watching on the video, you can see it. And we call that the Trump train. It goes by our studio every day, sometimes twice a day. It doesn't actually pick up on my mic over the radio, but I can see it on the YouTube live stream. The Trump train is going by. That's right, each and every day. Welcome back, everyone. Again, my name is Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. I am really shocked at some of the reaction about this shooting in Georgia because based on what I'm seeing, it's pretty clear-cut, and that the guys weren't arrested. I mean, that even makes it more shocking. Now, I got to tell you, you're welcome to call in on that, and I'd certainly love to hear your thoughts and your opinions on that. We did get some incredibly good news yesterday, and that involves Michael Flynn, that the Department of Justice dropped charges against General Flynn, and the Trump train is just leaving. I see, do they have a caboose? No, there's no caboose on the Trump train. You know why there's no caboose? I just saw there's no caboose. You know why there's no caboose on that Trump train? Because people continue to jump on board, and they don't want to end the train. It keeps getting longer all the time. Anyway, yeah, so Flynn, Department of Justice dropped charges, and I know people are saying, because they have this information coming out about Strzok and Page, and even though they had no evidence and everything else, they talk about how they're going to get him to lie so they can charge him with a crime. And I know people want to have an arrest, they want an indictment, they run it quick. Here's the problem. The courts in D.C. are not operating right now because of the coronavirus pandemic. They cannot have a grand jury going. There's no grand jury that's going on in D.C. right now to go and get an indictment from because of what's going on with coronavirus. So this story is a huge story. Strzok and Page and Rod Rosenstein are in a hell of a lot of hot water, no doubt about it, and all the rest. But don't expect any indictments anytime soon. There's no grand juries in D.C. right now, are there? Durham can't go get an indictment from a grand jury unless he's already got some indictments and he's not taking advantage of them. So we're going to have to wait until the courts open back up and we get out of the mandatory shutdowns and all these other things before you get any indictments. Okay, so I know. But, now we are getting documents that show that Obama was even briefed on it. See, these coup conspirators against President Trump, Strzok, Page, Obama, Rosenstein, McCabe, Comey, all of them, they didn't cover their tracks up very well. This latest revelation with the handwritten notes, I am sure they've done handwriting analysis and have determined whose handwriting that is in those notes. The reason that there is so much evidence in a paper trail in all of this is because they never expected any of this to happen. They thought they would be able to run President Trump out of office and this would be all over by now. They never thought that he would be able to weather the storm, stay in office, and that their coup would fail. And they never thought anybody would be looking at these things. But there's a story going on here that we may never know. How did these documents with the handwritten notes detailing their plan to go and set General Flynn up, how did this all of a sudden get found? How did that happen? Who gave those documents to Durham? All of a sudden, after all these years, all of a sudden, handwritten documents detailing how they were going to set General Flynn up. Now, big question going on now about Flynn is, will Trump hire him back? I think he should. I know he said that Flynn lied to the vice president. That's a bit of a problem. But Flynn deserves a lot. He deserves to be, and I'm glad it went this way as opposed to the pardon, because when someone is pardoned, there's always a cloud over them, Did they really do it? They did it. It's a pardon is different. When you do it this way, boom, that's it. Right? This is better than a pardon. But Flynn, and I think it's probably better for Flynn. This guy's a general. He's an honorable guy. He doesn't want to have questions about his integrity over him. But Flynn is owed a lot. Not just his reputation, but the financial impact that it's had on his family. He is owed. And he should be written a big, fat check. I believe he is a 3-star general. And to my knowledge, generals are always still generals, although they may be inactive. He should be promoted. I know he was a 3-star general, right? Lieutenant general. He should be made a 4-star general. President Trump, just like that Tuskegee Airman that he made a general a few weeks back, he should promote him to 4-star general and increase his retirement based on the retirement of a 4-star, not a 3-star general, and he should be written a big fat check from the Justice Department to make up for all of his legal fees, which have got to be huge, and whatever other financial difficulties he's had should be taken care of by the government, because what went on against him was part of this coup. It was illegal. They destroyed his life. They destroyed him financially. And same thing goes for Roger Stone. What was going on here with Flynn and all the rest, the first bit of the coup was with the dossier and when they were in cahoots with the Clinton campaign and they got those FISA warrants on Trump Tower. They were doing opposition research for the Ready for Hillary campaign. And we haven't talked about this in a long time, so I go over a couple things that you may have heard me talk about way back then, but if you've joined us since then as a listener to the program, you may have missed. There were many stories that came out that they were trying to sink the Trump campaign with, and they were unsuccessful. And the purpose of the phony FISA warrants on Trump Tower, keep in mind, Trump Tower was the home of Donald Trump and his family. He lived there. His campaign headquarters were based there, as were his business offices. that they wired up. And if you remember, Trump came out during the campaign and said, Obama's been spying on me. And the media laughed at him. I guess he has some high-tech security people in there, and they found out that they were being monitored. And no one believed. Remember that? Yeah, people don't remember that. But what had happened is Trump was getting more and more popular. No matter what they did, no matter what was exposed, he was becoming more and more popular. And the purpose of the FISA warrant was to do opposition research, and opposition research only. That's what the whole thing was about. I've suspected, I don't know this to be a fact, and we never will, but I suspect that Access Hollywood tape, that was picked up on those wiretaps. I've thought that from the beginning because that came out of the blue. And I first thought Billy Bush might have leaked it because Billy Bush, his uncles are President George W. Bush and Jeb are his uncles. And I thought at first, well, maybe Billy Bush had told the story to Jeb or his other uncle, GW or someone, and it got out. And then when all this business came out about the FISA warrants, I said, you know what? I'm talking about, and I'll tell you another thing. That story, it came out of the blue. And it was shocking like that. So I think they probably picked that up on the FISA warrants. I've always thought that, as soon as we found out what they were doing. So that was the whole purpose. That was the whole purpose of it. And then it continued on. And they never dreamed that he'd still be in office. They never dreamed he'd still be in office. And he has. And now finally we're getting some justice. It's amazing to me how patient President Trump is. I would have pardoned all these people years ago. Flynn, Michael Cohen, Roger Stone, even Mann. They would have all been pardoned. Right? I know Cohen was state charges, so I guess he couldn't pardon him. But I would have done the ones I could have done. He's a very patient man, and people have been saying, why doesn't he pardon General Flynn? Because Donald Trump knew in the end he would be cleared. All right, our number toll free from anywhere 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. When we get back, there is more to discuss. Don't go anywhere.
Hurricane season is right around the corner, and the predictions are
Steve
that
Kane
the
Show.
2020 hurricane season will be busier than normal, with 16 named storms predicted.
Yeah, who's this?
Turning into hurricanes, and 4 growing into major
Yeah, hello.
hurricanes.
Is it Barry?
According to scientists at Colorado State University.
Yeah, Steve Kane Show.
More named storms and hurricanes, and 2 more major
Yeah, what's your name?
hurricanes than they predicted
Oh, I
at
thought
this
so.
time
Okay.
last year. Do you have the hurricane coverage you need, the coverage you want for your home, condominium, or commercial property? In case a hurricane hits, call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080, 954-753-8080. Debbie will review your policy at no charge and make sure you have the coverage you want and the coverage you need. Once a hurricane hits, it's too late. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors right now, 954-753-8080, 954-753-8080.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060.
Well, I'm in shock at what I'm just seeing.
Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
Steve Kane Show.
Search for WWNN.
Hold on. All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. I just saw out of my window something that shocked me just now, and it is a major indicator that we are moving away from this pandemic panic that we are in. In our new studio high atop the 5th floor here in Boca, I'm looking out at the beach. I just saw someone parasailing way up in the air, higher up than the high-rise buildings on the beach, parasailing right down the beach in Deerfield and Boca, and I haven't seen a parasailer down the beach in weeks. Oh, look who's on the line. Attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney. Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great watching this parasailer outside our when this is all over, Barry, you got to come by and visit our new studio. We got to have you on the show again anyway. I've been here in a while. Yeah. So listen, I've gotten some calls from people that are asking about this offer you are giving to some of the healthcare workers to help them make some planning. And if you could expand on that a little bit for people, because people have heard you talk about it here and there, and they're curious exactly what you're offering to the healthcare workers.
Sure. We're very grateful to our healthcare workers, to our first responders, and even those
Steve
folks
Kane Show.
who are working in animal shelters and animal hospitals, taking care of our pets. So what we are doing is for anybody in any of those positions, professions, we are offering free healthcare surrogate designations and free living wills. A healthcare surrogate designation is a very important healthcare document where you get to designate who will make healthcare decisions for you if, for any reason, if you lost your mental capacity, then they could step in and make healthcare decisions. Those healthcare decisions could be non-life-threatening decisions or even end-of-life decisions like pulling the plug. And as far as pulling the plug, the legal document that lets people know what you would have wanted is the other document that we are giving away to our friends that are helping us with the healthcare workers, the first responders, and those working with the animals. And that's the living will, and that's the pull the plug document. That document will allow people to let their healthcare decision maker know what they would want. If they were on a machine and the only thing keeping them alive is the machine, do they want to be kept alive on the machine, or do they want the machine turned off to be able to be let go?
Yeah.
Those two documents are very important. Everybody should have those, but we want to offer those to these folks absolutely free with no strings attached, just because we're grateful for everything.
That's an amazing offer. And listen, if you have not already made your estate plan, right? If you don't already have a revocable living trust, call attorney Barry Siegel. Completely free consultation. If you already have, and your estate planning documents are 3 years old or older, you need to call for that free review too that attorney Barry Siegel offers. And you know, you're doing everything either by video conference or phone conference right now, Barry. So these consultations, people can call you on the phone, and you can handle these initial consultations right over the phone or a video chat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Our concern is safety first. For our clients, our potential clients, our staff, and so right now, until the coast is clear, we are doing safe consultations either by phone or by video conferencing, and all you have to do is call our office to get that scheduled, and absolutely.
That's great. Listen, give attorney Barry Siegel a call. I'm going to give you his number right now, but if you miss it, go to stevekaneshow.com and it's listed there. Barry's number, toll free, 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 855-352-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk next week. All right, you two, take care. You know, and some of you may not know what parasailing is. If you're just tuning in, during the break at the bottom of the hour, I'm looking out. We're on the 5th floor. I'm looking out towards the beach, and I saw a parasailer come by, and I just saw a second one. And what parasailing is, I've never done it because I'm terrified. I'm afraid of heights. You may have seen it in the movies if you're not a Floridian. What parasailing is you are in this harness with a device that looks like a parachute, and you're tied to a boat, and the boat speeds down the ocean off the beach, and you fly in the air, and it's called parasailing. That's what parasailing is. And if they're parasailing, that's off of either Boca or Deerfield Beach. I can't tell which beach it is exactly from here, if it's Boca or Deerfield. That's miraculous, and it just means we're kind of getting out of this crazy period. All right, let's go back to our phones, which have been jamming this morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. Okay, moving on. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Good morning, Doug.
Hey, Doug. Steve Kane Show.
Parasailing.
Hey.
I'm wondering when the guy lands if he's going to be arrested for walking on the beach.
I know. Well, I know. I don't know where well, that boating in the marinas have been open, so I get. But have you ever done parasailing? I don't have the guts to do it. I'm terrified of it.
You know, I'm like you. I hate heights. I did it once, and once you get up there, it's nice. You look over everything, but it's like being on the top of a building, just looking at.
Oh yeah, that's just what I want, is to be on the edge of the top of a building. Yeah.
I thought it was boring just a while, but anyhow, I'm glad you brought up Flynn and everybody who's trying to supposedly get indicted. You know, all I can think about is what the head U.S. Marshal told me one time, that the jails are full of stupid people. The smart guys usually get away with it. These guys that they're going to put indictments on are slick. It's going to be really tough, I think, to get any indictment.
Now, to me, it looks like the leaders of the conspiracy are hanging Strzok, in particular, out to dry. I find it a little too convenient that all of a sudden we've got these handwritten notes. How are we going to set him up? Are we going to get him to lie? Are we going to make him lie? You know, the evidence seems a little too convenient, doesn't it? It's
It's been out there for a while.
not these handwritten things. These handwritten things, this is new in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's not. But
Steve Kane Show.
One of the main plays in this
Yeah,
thing.
what's your name?
Yeah, somebody's probably going to have to go to jail. Maybe it'll be him, but I think it's going to be maybe a slap on the wrist because, like I said, these guys are pretty smart. They know how to get over on the system, and then you have everybody on the Democrat side trying to protect them. So it's going to be a.
I know something. I'm telling you, there's no grand juries in D.C. I'm pretty sure right now because of the coronavirus, but there's indictments coming, and it looks to me like Strzok, Page, and maybe Rod Rosenstein, maybe, but certainly Strzok. They're definitely setting Strzok up. Looks to me.
That would be nice.
I mean, after all these years, all of a sudden we get documents with handwritten notes. All right, how are we going to set him up? How are we going to make him lie so we can arrest him? Come on. That is, it's almost, I'm not saying that it's not real evidence, but for it to show up seems so convenient all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm hoping something comes out for Adam Schiff to see him.
Yeah, nobody likes Adam Schiff. All right, hey, Conservative Doug, thanks for the call. You're on the radio. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Sam calling from Boca.
Sam in Boca. What's going on?
Yeah. Oh, hi. Well, I wanted to make a couple of mentions. One thing was about Flynn. I think he deserves everything back and maybe be promoted, but he can't do it now because some people may not like that, and it could cost Trump some votes. So he can't do it right now. The other thing is, who's going to pay that money? The taxpayer? All the money that he deserves and should get, the taxpayers will wind up.
Yeah.
It is a serious.
I don't know. We got some of it back. We got some of it back already because McCabe didn't get his full pension.
Yeah, but
You know, because McCabe, they fired McCabe, so he didn't get his full pension. So we got some of the money back.
Oh, that's a little bit of retribution, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is really serious. I'm going to mention now. I was watching a video about old cars in Punta Gorda, Florida. This happened by accident on Facebook. It was either Facebook or YouTube. I think it was Facebook. But it could have been YouTube, okay? I'm not sure. And I'm watching these old cars for like about an hour, and all of a sudden, for like 3 seconds, they stuck a subliminal in there of Trump. I swear to God. And I rewound it and went back to that spot, and it wasn't there again.
Well, you know, Trump, before Trump was what he is now, I've seen some video and some photographs of Trump when he was driving around Palm Beach, even pumping gas in his own car. There's a lot of video and photos of Trump down here. So you know, by the way, you're in Boca, and you know, which is where I am right now, and you know the Palm Beach Commission, they've sent notice to the governor to reopen Palm Beach County, and they've got Palm Beach County is debating on whether or not to open up the beaches, and they've got this health expert. Did you see this in the paper today? Yeah, well, you know, they got this health expert who's the senior health advisor advising the Broward County Commission, and the health commissioner says, we've got, this is in the Palm Beach Post, I couldn't believe, they say, we have to keep the beaches closed. I like going to the beach, and I cannot guarantee that I'll maintain social distancing because I like to play volleyball. So because this one person thinks that, they can't control themselves at the beach, we got to keep the beach closed? It's getting a little ridiculous.
Mention. You know what's going to happen with all this face mask stuff and everything else? You're going to prevent a lot of different diseases, colds and other things. And what's going to happen, the business for the medicos are going to be reduced by the fact that everyone's going to be healthier in the next 6 months.
Well, the whole, probably, the whole thing with the masks is so strange. And I was talking, yesterday morning I was talking about this. I went into Wawa to get coffee on the way in. And this guy in front of me, he was about 25 years old. He was wearing a hoodie, and it was hot yesterday. I don't know what the hell he's doing with a hoodie on. And he had a mask on. And I'm thinking, if this was a month ago, and this guy walked in here with a hoodie on and a mask on, and then I was at the bank, and this is the thing that really blows my mind. At Bank of America, they have an armed guard inside. They never have an armed guard in my normal branch. All of a sudden, they got an armed guard, and he is there not only to make sure that you maintain social distancing in the bank, but that you have your mask on. And, if you went into a bank 6 weeks ago with a mask on, everybody would stick their hands up in the air. It's so strange. And it's very difficult, isn't it? And my favorite one, I was in the bank, and there were 3 guys in there wearing bandanas. They look like, stagecoach robbers. And here we are in line in the bank. It's so strange. I mean, I've gone to the bank with my baseball hat on, and I'll have my sunglasses because it's sunny in Florida. What do they do when you walk in? Take off the sunglasses. Facial recognition can't pick you up with sunglasses and a baseball cap. But now everyone's wearing a mask.
That's why you have the armed guards there now. They may be doing that because of the fact that it could be.
Well, this was really shocking. This happened a couple weeks ago. I think I told this on the air. I'm in line at the bank, and they have the stickers for the social which is fine. This one guy walks in. He's wearing a mask. There's about 12 people in line for the teller. And by the way, Bank of America made a very smart business move. About a year ago, they shut down all their drive-thrus. So now you got to go in if you got to go in, right? But this one guy, he has a question. He walks by the people in line because he has a question, and the security guard starts flipping out. He says, "Sir, you're breaking social distancing guidelines. Please stand back." And the armed guard put his hand up with the stuff. It was strange. Strange the world we're in. Anyway, hey, listen, thanks for the call, man. Take care. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike at Louisiana.
Oh, Mike in Louisiana. What's going on, Mike?
Oh, nothing much. You're talking about, who might or might not go to. Yeah, it's a little bit.
Are you talking about the Georgia case?
Yeah, I'm talking about. It's a little bit convenient.
Oh, Flynn.
It's a little bit convenient that these notes appeared, but before this whole virus thing started, there were already rumors that Durham's report was done, and there were indictments out there. And this is before the virus thing was a thing,
Well, the thing with these all of a sudden, the handwritten notes, right, with Strzok and Page. Strzok is involved in everything. The Hillary emails with the beach bit, and all that stuff. Strzok was involved in every interview, every case. So he was kind of like the soldier for these people at the top. And what I find convenient is that as soon as we start hearing about Durham's case wrapping up, there's handwritten documents of Strzok saying, okay, how are we going to set up General Flynn? Are we going to make him lie so we can arrest him? Are we going to do this? It seems like the higher-ups, like the Rod Rosensteins, McCabe, Comey level, they're setting Strzok up to take the fall. And this idea that Lisa Page is his girlfriend, I mean, did you see Strzok when he testified?
Yes.
Does he look like the kind of guy that has a girlfriend? I think that Lisa Page is his girlfriend in the same way that my wife has girlfriends, if you know what I mean. He just doesn't, I don't think it was romantic with the two of them.
Even though some of those texts were sort of romantic, but that could be a red herring.
Yeah.
You mentioned Comey. The thing is you can prove that Comey broke the law. You can prove that.
Comey's not going to jail, okay? I got news for you. Comey's not going to jail. Hillary's not going to jail. None of these people. It's going to be low-level people. Low-level people like Strzok, Page. Who was the other guy and his wife? I forgot their name. The wife that had the shortwave radio. Oh, I've forgotten his name. But that's going to be low-level people.
They'll say that there's a good chance that Comey, of all the higher level guys, Comey, you can prove that he broke the law with, leaking those memos, and it's
not going to happen. It's the only time somebody at that level goes to jail is if they're a Republican. And I know Comey's a Republican, but he's a Republican in name only. Hey, listen, Mike in Louisiana, we're going to run for a break. All right, take care, man. All right, listen, we're going to take our break. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. Hey, how you doing?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Oh, good. Have a seat. Have a seat. Oh, yeah. Just have a seat. We'll start it after the break at 8. This, the radio station makes a sign. Everybody that comes in here, this is if you get corona, you won't sue them. I told him it's not legally binding. It's like all these things. I had to sign it too.
No problem.
Straight.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Project Care package.
Oh, awesome.
Some of the stuff we're selling.
Oh, Steve needs that more than me.
Paper towels, toilet paper, samples of some masks.
Oh, well, leave it in there, and then we'll go through it when we start after the top of the hour.
Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire.
Yeah, you can have a seat. Steve should be here soon.
Price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Hey, ladies.
What are you talking about, Nick?
Obviously not the Beastie Boys, but it is Dr. Matez here. Are you tired of being tired? Are you sick of feeling sick? Are you frustrated with your weight? Wish you had a libido? Or the sex life you used to have? If this sounds like you, I'm sorry to tell you that you are suffering the ravages of the process known. I offer safe and effective therapies that will completely reverse the menopausal process and eliminate your symptoms. If you want to feel good again, if you want to look good again, and if you want to feel young,
yeah, what's up?
Call me as soon as possible at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490.
Hold on.
That's 561-953-5490.
Give me a second. I'm not sure. I gotta check.
Visit our website at hormonetherapy.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
All right.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show, live in Morning Drive on...
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Phone's been pretty busy today. We've been talking about a lot of things. And now I just wanted to, this is a personal note about opening things up here in South Florida, which I am, luckily South Florida hasn't been closed down. It's not like New York. Most everything is open to some degree. But, there's this fight that's been going on. And I reference this with a call. This is in the Palm Beach Post. I haven't read the local papers in years, and I'm reading them now, but listen to this ridiculous story. This is in the Palm Beach Post. It says, here's the headline, Coronavirus Florida, reopen beaches, caution is the watchword from Palm Beach County's top health official, who's a total lunatic. Listen to this. County Health Director Dr. Alina Alonso tells county commissioners the disease is easing up, but it's not a matter of just ripping the Band-Aid off, okay? As Palm Beach County commissioners prepare to decide Friday whether to open beaches, they are well armed with advice from their top health official. Be cautious. Even though the charts and graphs presented to commissioners Tuesday by health advisor Dr. Alonso showed an easing in the coronavirus grips on Palm Beach County, Alonso made it clear to the commission that they just can't reopen businesses and even beaches as if all would once again be normal. As we go forward, we need to be careful. We just can't say everything's over, Alonso told the county commission Tuesday. I don't think it's a matter of just ripping the Band-Aid off and proceeding that everything is fine. Reopening services too early or without the proper protocols may result in a resurgence of the disease. That's interesting, may result. May result. Not it will, may result. And we're finding out in New York that the vast majority of people that have been admitted to New York City hospitals were people that either were retired or unemployed and were at home. So they weren't out and about having contact with people. So and they did everything they were told and they still got it. The commissioners will decide today whether to reopen some beaches which have been closed since March 20th. As opposed to restaurants and bars, the county has the power to reopen their beaches without the consent of the governor. But the idea of people once again gathering together on beaches gave Alonso pause. I love how these officials, they want to kind of run things like North Korea, where, you can only go where the government tells you. You can't go here, you can't go there. And this is what the health commissioner says. There are things we need to do to take more precautions than other things. I think the time will come, if we continue to do this, that yes, we will get out there quicker to be able to go to the beach and do whatever we want to do if we maintain this carefully and thoughtfully. But reopening parks, golf courses, and marinas has so far worked out well. It's just not opening them. The public has to feel safe going there, Alonso says. And she goes on and on and on. Okay, here's the, okay, you made it good. Now, here's the, I'm hardly recognizing Steve because not only are you not getting a haircut, but you're going to play Santa Claus this summer if you don't get your beard trimmed.
Well, talk to the board of directors.
Well, you can make some good money playing Santa Claus. Extra. But here's the thing, if you watch all of these stories that are going on about the health people, there's a very good reason why people are not listening to health officials. They don't believe them and they don't trust them. And the reason that there's so much distrust among all these scientists and doctors that are advising the government is because of the global warming scam that's been going on all these years. And the left have always said, well, the scientists say this, the scientists say that, and the doctors are telling us to do this, and all the studies show that. People have a complete distrust of these experts that work for the government. The other thing, Georgia has been open 2 weeks today. 2 weeks ago today, Georgia reopened. If you want to get a haircut and your beard trimmed like Steve needs, you can get on a plane in Fort Lauderdale. You can fly to Georgia and get a haircut. You can even go to a mall. And the biggest story out of Georgia involving deaths is this guy that was shot by the good old boys in the pickup truck in February. I'm not hearing, there was an incident at a mall in Georgia yesterday. Some people got into a physical altercation in the parking lot, a guy and a couple of women. I don't know if he was there with his girlfriend and that was his other girlfriend that saw him. I don't know. But Georgia's been open for 2 weeks, and I haven't heard of any major issues in Georgia having been 100% open in 2 weeks. Now, people are going to continue to get sick. But what I'm talking about is, are the hospitals overwhelmed in Georgia? Are they having medical shortages? Are there problems like that in Georgia? Not that I have seen. All right, listen, third and final hour is coming up. I want to tell everybody, before we break at the top, Dr. Mitch Matez is offering something. He announced this on the program yesterday, and this is pretty amazing. Now, Dr. Mitch Matez is our anti-aging doctor, and he's my doctor, he's Steve's doctor. He's an expert in the field of anti-aging. And, because of that, a lot of his patients are a little older. Not all, but a lot of them are some of them are younger like me. I'm not as young as I used to be. And he is offering something that is absolutely amazing that you can only do by appointment. Do you know Dr. Matez is offering the coronavirus antibody test?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. You should think about getting it, Steve. Because, if you and he says most of the results come back in 24 hours.
What does it measure?
It measures if you have the antibodies for coronavirus, which means you're immune and can't get it again. And if you, I know.
You had it and got rid of it.
Well, maybe, or you were exposed to it and have the antibodies. You may not have had it, but you may have been exposed and developed antibodies, but you're immune. And that means Your life will be a lot easier because you won't have to wear the mask, you won't have to wear gloves, and and you could even wear a sign on you that says, I have the antibodies, and you can walk around with your test results. And, Dr. Matez is offering this. It's by appointment only. And I'll tell you a good reason. I know there are places around doing antibody testing you see in the news and some of these free drive-up places. I'm not really too keen on that because I don't want to go to a place that's filled with a bunch of strangers that think they may have the coronavirus all day. Dr. Matez, he's doing this in a very safe environment. He's doing this on a one-on-one basis by appointment only. Okay, so give him a call. Talk to him about the antibody test, and you should really think about it, Steve. If you don't have the antibodies, that's okay. But if you do, your life...
Have you had the test?
What's that?
Have you had the test?
No, I'm going to because my wife's in a very high risk situation with her health, and I'm hoping I have them because that means my wife can be a little more relaxed about me being out and about working and meeting with people and everything like we do all the time. So listen, give Dr. Mitch Matez a call, make an appointment, have that antibody test. And he said most results back in 24 hours, in some instances as long as 48. So that's pretty quick. 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. All right. Third and final hour begins right now. Don't go anywhere.
5.3 FM.
Or plug your headset in over
You
there.
find this okay?
Oh, no problem, man.
I lost it.
Frank brought you... We just moved here, actually.
2 seconds up the street.
Oh, we just moved here the other day. Frank brought you a bunch of stuff here.
I brought you a Chiropractic.
Oh, you kidding?
You need this. No.
My personal chiropractor.
No, they put in the jack over
Joy,
here.
how are you today?
Doing well, Steve.
Chiropractic is an art. All the nerves in your body go to your
Let
spine.
me
The
know how
spine's
they
out of
sound.
line, the nerves get pinched, and of course you're
The
going
only-
to have
the only
all
problem
kinds
is your
of
headphones might-
symptoms
try 'em
and
on
all
now,
kinds
see if the
of pain
volume's
as a
okay.
result of that. And until you get that spine realigned, you're going to be in pain.
100% correct. If you have
The
a
problem
joint,
is
especially
our
in your
volume
back,
for the
that's
headphones are the
that's
same
not
volume,
moving
so we have to
properly.
find
It will
him.
put
Steve
pressure
Kane
not
Show.
only possibly on nerves, but more of the time on soft tissue structures.
Oh my gosh.
The ligaments, the muscles. And it will
Okay, I'll
create
check it out,
pressure. There are nerves within the
Steve
joint
Kane
called
Show.
mechanoreceptors, and it will affect the actual nerves
Hey.
that are in the joint. Which
Hold on.
nerves
Where
are
does
sonic,
everybody
and
sit?
they do come from
You
some
sit there
blood,
and Frank can
but
sit
not
over here. Hold on, I gotta check
Oh,
something.
oh.
has a pinched nerve.
I've been seeing you for a relatively short
But-
period of time, and
One second.
you have the healing touch, I'll tell you that.
No, you can't because you got to use this mic. You can use those headphones, but that mic you got to be close to the mic. I can't plug your mic in right now.
The next time you come up to do this, we're going to be much better organized.
I'm not worried about this. Is great.
Yeah, we just moved here from our studio we were at forever.
463-3036. 954-463-3036. We're located in East Fort Lauderdale. We're just one block of US 1.
Where's that at, Kathy? Because I don't see it on Drudge.
River Drive. The address is 2510 East Oakland Park Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale.
Dr. Troy Lamashki, a great healer. Make an appointment today.
Frank,
I don't think it's real. I'm not even going to say what it is. I don't know. If it is, it's not on Drudge.
And your family to be protected during the coronavirus pandemic, and as an incredible offer for listeners of the
It's not on
Steve Kane
Fox
Show.
either.
We get products continually coming in during the week. We get disinfectants,
Okay.
gloves, cleaning supplies.
So we're gonna get you kinda close. You need to sit down, Steve. You gotta be closer to that mic. As close as you can to that.
Cover your face, so we've got to supply a
You're
bandana,
3, you're 2.
gloves, everyone of your
I'll stand.
But you got to stand close to it then.
Close to that?
I can't plug that one in right now. You're better if you sit. You'll be able to get closer to it.
Everybody's required to have their face covered, so you can use this bandana to cover your mouth and your nose and protect you and protect all those around you.
Yeah, use that. But use those for the headphones. I just can't plug in the mic part right now.
Bring for supply or maybe treat yourself to a new grill.
Wow, what a great deal. These bandanas are reusable
Nothing till the
because
bottom.
you can wash them. So stop into Ace Hardware
Steve Kane
in
Show.
Field, just south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the
Yeah, I
west
thought
side
so.
of
I thought
US
so.
1
Thanks.
and Beach Ace Hardware located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea. And get your free bandana from Ace Hardware.
We're through the roof.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Solar Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Solar Authority are
Are your-
making it
check out the
possible for
volume
you
on
to
your
still
headphones,
take
is
care
that
of your
okay?
feet while remaining in your home. as we will send a
It's
doctor
a
to
little
your
loud.
house
Can
for
you
all
turn
of
it
your
down?
podiatric needs.
Well,
That's why
the problem
because
is
Medicare pays for
our
this
headphones are
visit.
the
So,
same
if you're a
volume.
Medicare
Can you
recipient,
make
give
it?
the Soul
Not a
Authority
lot,
call
because I
today
gotta.
at 954
I'm a little hard of hearing, you know.
597
I turn it down a little. We gotta find a place where it fits for us both,
Don't
you know.
let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
Listen to the Steve King Show on iHeartRadio.
Hold on, I'll open up. All right, welcome back. Third and final hour has begun. I'm Brian. Steve Kane, of course, here you're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Welcome back, everyone. And in studio, we have Frank from Ace Hardware here in studio with us. Frank, of course, with Deerfield Beach Ace Hardware. Beach Ace Hardware is 2 stores. And basically, Frank is here today because Steve has no prep stuff at home. And Frank from Ace Hardware, he brought you a whole box, Steve, from Ace Hardware, of all the stuff that you've been asking me to give you.
Yes. Oh,
See, I have what Steve doesn't have at home. I had a wife, unfortunately, because, you know, my wife is stocked up on things, and we took care, and you
really
don't
know
have
how
it.
to hurt a guy.
Well, you don't. I had to give you toilet paper the other day. I gave you that Chinese toilet paper, remember? But Frank brought in, Steve, you got everything you've been asking me for, okay? Lysol. They have all these are all things. These are all things that they have.
They didn't make Lysol anymore.
No, they make it. And these are all things that are in stock at Ace Hardware, the Deerfield location and Beach Ace Hardware. So Lysol.
Okay.
You were asking me for light and paper towels. You got that toilet paper. And I'll tell you, the toilet paper that Frank is much better than that Chinese toilet paper I gave you the other day.
Okay.
It's like regular size toilet paper.
Now, what is this?
Those are gloves.
Gloves part of the
You can't if you
required
can't.
outfit?
Well, the mask is.
I know that. I know
Yeah,
that from that.
yeah. So everything you've been
Oh, look
asking
at-
me
look at
for,
all these different
you've
ones.
got masks, an American flag. Is that the American flag bandana mask?
It's a neck gaiter.
The neck gaiter. So there you go. So these are all things that you've been lacking, and they're all in stock at Ace Hardware. Yeah, you've got. See, now this stuff here, Steve. Now we got the gold report later. This stuff here is almost as valuable as gold. The hand sanitizer
right.
over there. That's hand sanitizer.
And this is this.
That's the hand sanitizer.
Okay, that's
all different flavors.
These are all the things you've been asking me for
This
that
is-
I
I really appreciate.
and they're all in stock at Ace Hardware.
Ace Hardware.
Now the Ace
And
Hardware.
Ace is the place. Always remember that.
That's correct. That's correct. But you know, Ace Hardware's been with us for a couple of months now on the Steve Kane Show, and Ace Hardware Deerfield, Beach Ace Hardware, they're both listed at SteveKaneShow.com. This is, and I'm not supposed to say this, but this Ace Hardware Deerfield, Beach Ace Hardware are my wife's favorite sponsors that we have here on the Steve Kane Show, because since Ace Hardware joined us, the entire inside of my house has been painted over again, which my wife has been asking me for. And
You've become a regular handyman.
yeah, well, I'm starting to. Yeah, now I'm moving on to some bigger projects. I got to. This is one. Last time I'm going to try to do this on my own. Is I'm going to repair a broken ceiling fan. That's going to be my next project, and then I'm going to work on putting some shelving up inside the garage. But yeah, so Frank's joining us from Ace Hardware. Hey, Frank.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Steve. Great to be here.
Yeah,
Frank,
and
always good to see you, and I'm glad that tell them how things are going up at Ace Hardware.
We're extremely busy. We've
Yeah.
been just trying to provide merchandise for the community. We reach out a lot, try to go the extra mile, get extra products.
You know, this is something I haven't seen
Lysol?
in forever.
Well, I've had it because I went over to Ace Hardware and bought it, but
I had
you know.
one leftover can that was empty, and I wouldn't throw it out because I was afraid it was going to become a collector's item.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now
Lysol.
now I can have an actual.
Light.
What do we used to call it in the baseball card collector? A mint.
Yeah, a mint Lysol.
Lysol spray, disinfectant spray. And why is it so hard to get these things?
They're just the demand's overwhelming. Everybody in the whole country is looking for the product. So it comes and goes. So we got a delivery in this morning. It'll probably be sold out by the time I get back to the store. Same thing with the Clorox wipes.
That's true. And these, we still for Steve Kane listeners?
We're getting another shipment of bandanas in today for Steve Kane listeners,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, now what that is, if you stop into either the Deerfield Ace Hardware or Beach Ace Hardware, mentioned the Steve Kane Show, you get a free bandana that you can wear as a mask. And the great thing about them, other than that they're free, is that they're washable. So you can wash them and reuse them all the time. Because you got to wash your masks and things like that because they get stuff on them.
And it seems like there's no problem with people being nervous about anything. They're getting tumultuous crowds, which is great.
We're getting good crowds. We do social distancing. We get our plastic up. We've got sanitizer on the counter for the customers. We clean the counters. We clean the doors all.
Well, I'll tell you, when I went to the Deerfield Ace Hardware, which, by the way, is on Federal Highway, just south of Hillsborough on the west side of US 1 there. Your store was the first retail establishment I saw in South Florida that actually implemented the you have like the plexiglass between the cashier and the customers. That was the first place I saw it in retail. I mean, I guess you guys are handy guys over there. You can get this stuff up faster than most places.
Yes, we just want to make sure our cashiers were protected as well as our customers.
And your guys over there saved me a lot because I had my homeowners association on me, and my homeowners associations are basically they're the mafia. I mean they got you, and they were telling me that I had to paint my house because I'd had some.
In the middle of this,
they don't HOA. They don't care. They middle of the pandemic, hurricane. They told me I had to paint my house, and it can be I paint myself. I do everything myself that I can. I don't hire people to do things like that. And I really wasn't up for painting my house, but I had these stains, and I tried everything. Let me tell you something. I have a pressure cleaner. I pressure clean them. I went out to Publix and got some Santa thing, nothing. So I go over to Deerfield Ace Hardware. I talked to one of your guys over there, Frank, and told him what the problem was. And he said, "Here, take this. He said, hook this up to your hose. It's a cleaner. Spray it." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, And I went home and did it, and sure enough, like that, the stains were gone off the house, and it saved me from having to paint the entire house. And I bought some. I couldn't believe that. I mean, and these stains, some of them have been on there for quite some time. It was mold, mildew stains, and even some rust was up there, and it just disappeared. And I ended up cleaning the whole house with it, and it looks like it was painted, even though it wasn't. And that was amazing.
So this is a great time to pick up all the things you need to catch up on your.
Well,
what would you call them?
I'll tell. Well, okay. Now here's the thing. Because Ace Hardware is different than these. You're supposed to say big box stores, but I'll tell you Lowe's and Home Depot, and I'll tell you what the difference is, okay? I'm not as unhandy as Steve. I can do some things, but if I go to...
You're picking on me.
Come on.
I'm pretty handy, and other things, everybody has a different expertise.
When Steve was married, I remember I went over to your house one weekend when you were married, and your wife was standing in the front door, and I'm like, what's going on, Steve? What's going on? But whenever I go to Lowe's or Home Depot and I walk in there, I'm completely overwhelmed. And when I've gone there and I'm working on something and I talk to somebody there, if they can help me, they'll say, okay, get this. I go home and I find out there's 5 more things I need. And I end up going back 5 or 6 times to work on one project. At Ace Hardware, you go over there, and everybody you have over there, Frank, they're so helpful, get me everything I need, and that one stop, I don't have to go back 4 or 5 times on one project, and because it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we have great help. We have experience. All of our managers have been in the business for 20, 30 years. They know what they want, what you need, and they'll get you in and out quickly.
Yeah, they do, absolutely, and they know how to do pretty much anything you're going to be doing at home, so... they walk you through what you need with this, what you need with that. Like when I did the painting, now this was great. I've been putting off, I hate painting because the trim work and all that is so
That's the fun part.
When's the last time you painted your house, Steve?
I used to paint my houses a lot.
Yeah, well, okay, good. But
when I was, different stage of my life. Now
yeah,
it's higher school.
That's right. But when I went over to get the supplies to paint my living room, and I went over there, I did not know how much went into the proper brushes until I was over in Ace Hardware, and the trim has always been a problem for me. And when I painted this time was the first. Not the ceiling. When I went home and painted, this was the first time I've ever painted in my house where I wasn't hitting the ceiling. throughout, because I got all the right brushes and everything. I told them exactly what I was doing. They gave me the right brushes, make sure that I had everything I need, and it was perfection. And my wife and daughter were in shock, actually, when they came out. Well, I think they were more in shock than proud. They were like, I can't believe you didn't hit the ceiling this time. Of course. I said it's because of this brush that I got over at
Ace Hardware?
Yeah, that's right, on Federal Highway just south of Hillsborough. So you guys over there are great. And when I start doing, I got a couple of electrical things I'm going to tackle this week, which I'm.
Is that you? Well, you got to be careful with that.
Well, you turn the power off first.
I'll come in on if you
Yeah.
do it right. I'll come in on Monday and there'll be a charred remnant of what's.
Well, what's going on is I'm building, because everyone over.
You know how to do fuse box and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know how to handle that. What's happening, because the guys over there are so helpful, Frank, over at your store, I'm gaining confidence to take on some things that I wouldn't have done before. Probably the electrical work and fixing the ceiling fan.
We're gonna make you look good, Brian.
Is he endangering himself?
No.
Yeah, he'll survive.
I'll survive it. But I got the choice of either buying a whole new ceiling fan or putting it up, or fixing the one there. And I think I can take on the repair, which will save me some money. But your guys over there are really good, Frank. And I got to tell you, anytime I'm over, and I've talked to some of our listeners who have been to both stores. And they all. I had someone call me on the air last week who was out in your parking lot waiting for you to open. He was doing some work at home, and one thing that I hear from every one of our listeners that stops into your store is it's like going back in time to an old-fashioned store where people really care about your business, and that's something that's really. A lot of times you go into retail stores
Those were the days, I remember it well.
Yeah, you go into
New York City.
You go into a lot of retail stores and they're almost annoyed at you when you ask for help. And I know in some of these bigger stores, a lot of times they kind of make you feel stupid that you don't know how to do this, or you don't know what size screw you need.
Finding all this stuff in one place is another thing. Look at this. These are all items which have become, I don't want to say obsolete, they've become, what's the word?
Well, scarce and in short supply. Listen, we'll take our break. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take some calls. Steve's here. Frank from Ace Hardware's here if you guys have any questions for Frank about Ace Hardware. We'll take our break 15 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Steve, of course, here with us as well. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. All right, let's take our break. We'll be right back.
0.3 FM,
Wow.
96.9 FM.
Now you'll set up. Well, you can take the whole box. You can take the whole box.
WWNN
Oh,
Box is the Florida Money
box.
Yeah, that's all.
Let's talk about charisma. Hormone
Steve Kane Show.
replacement therapy brings back a lot of things in people, and one of the things I think
Hey,
it brings
Ray.
back is
We'll
charisma,
go through
because
it.
Steve Kane Show.
listeners that are patients of Dr. Matez that I've met before, they
lights
really
on the way.
Hold on.
and I notice a big difference. And one thing I notice is a lot of confidence in guys after they start hormone replacement.
I know the air just popped on.
I agree with you 100%, Rob.
Yeah, yeah.
Get your mojo back. It's really what it is.
Okay, got Scott when we get back.
The way you view the world. You know how I-
Well, try to go out there to sneeze. Don't be sneezing this one.
Looking at the world after having the hormone therapy, and you look at the world is like a technicolor. And when you give up the hormone therapy, it's like watching the world in black and white. It's just an amazing.
I once was
difference.
hired by a good friend of mine to do his.
Isn't it?
He
It's
had
true. That's how it
a
does.
gorgeous apartment on Park Avenue, New York.
You know, we
And a
cook
ceiling
physically
that
and
was
mentally
a
break
mosaic
down.
like.
And
And every
we tend to get into a very black and white
thing was a
type of
different
existence
color,
of
and
Yeah.
I had
people.
to, oh
Everybody's
man,
different.
it took me
But when
3
you
months
get
to
your
do it.
hormone levels
It was
back
gorgeous.
and you get that vigor back,
I
you
love
feel
it.
good. Suddenly things are very bright and colorful.
And I experience this myself, and I see it on listeners, is I'll see a guy, and he's like, and then I'll see him after he has become a patient of yours and with hormone replacement pellet therapy. He seems like he's standing up strong, confident, 10 feet tall. What is it about hormone replacement pellet therapy that does that to guys?
I believe it's because you're putting
The next
God's
break
energy
is,
into the body, basically. God gave us testosterone. in
Richard.
particular.
This one we
It
got
gives us energy and
Scott.
strength and endurance and muscle mass. It's what makes
not just men, it's what makes people, people. And a lack of it takes all of those things away from you.
We'll meet with Steve Kane listeners at no charge.
Always.
What is the number they can call to make that appointment?
561-953-5490. 561-953-5490.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just
All right, welcome back. Now, during the break, the air conditioning popped on, and at the same time the air conditioning popped on, the phone rang, and it was Scott from Cut My Kilowatts who wants to save you money on your air conditioning bill. Hey, Scott, good morning. Oh, yeah.
It's hot all night, it's hot all morning, and people's air conditioners are just going to run and run and run nonstop. What's going to happen is they're going to be in pain, they're going to be suffering, and they're going to get those $400 or $500 electric bills, and they're going to call me up, and their attic's going to be 120, 130, 140 degrees. They're going to say, Scott, come do my insulation and do my radiant barrier. I heard you on the radio with all those great deals. And I'm going to say, God, people, it's just too late, because now it takes us too long to do the work. We'll still come help you, but we're just going to have to charge you for all that extra time. And the fact that the guys have to take breaks because they get exhausted, and because the phones are your solution, and we're busier than than we can handle. The price just goes up because we become exhausted.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let me tell you what happens. And the reason that Scott from Cut My Kilowatts is offering such an incredible deal now is because of the weather. When we get into July, we get into August, it's so hot that his workers they can't be in the crawl space working as long because it's 130, 140 degrees. Right now they can work a little longer. It keeps his labor costs down quite a bit because they can work, they can get the job done quick, as opposed to taking much longer when they can't be up in that heated crawl space for an extended period of time. Yeah. Yeah, there will be. But I'll tell you one thing that's not going to end, and that's going to be the Florida heat over the summer. And for most people, next to their mortgage payment or car payment, the third biggest expense in most homes is the electric bill in the summer in Florida, and that's because of the air conditioning usage. And when Scott comes over, he'll give you a free inspection of your home. When he does what it is that he does, you'll find that air conditioner doesn't pop on as often as it does before, and that means less electricity, and that means a smaller electric bill. So give Scott a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. No doubt. No doubt. Well, give Scott a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, 954-939-1500, 954-939-1500. Scott, we will talk next week. All right, take care, Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. Give him a call. So you're excited now, Steve? Your mask problem's over?
All these things I've been looking for that are not available elsewhere. It's amazing that all of them are available under one roof.
Ace Hardware, actually two, because you can go to Ace Hardware Deerfield or the Beach Ace Hardware. So under two, you got your mask, your gloves, you've got your Lysol, you've got your toilet paper, you even have the hand sanitizer, which is, I haven't seen a bottle of hand sanitizer in like 6 weeks, but they got it over there. Now, let's go back to the phone. If you're on hold, stand by, guys. Phone's ringing off the hook. We got Ray on the line. Ray actually introduced us to Frank from Ace Hardware. Hey, Ray. Ray,
Ray, are you there?
Yeah, gotcha. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
To say something good
Steve
about
Kane
Frank's
Show.
stores and Frank himself.
Steve
I think I know him a little bit.
Steve Kane Show.
37 years, that's all.
Wow.
And,
Yeah,
Frank
Steve
and
Kane
I
Show.
were
Who's
partners
counting?
In business together, we work together, and I know
Yeah, what's your name?
he runs. I know it from the inside out. You guys see it from the outside in. It's done the right way.
On what?
Frank's store. It's
Yeah.
just the one way to do it. It's just that is help treat the customers a certain way, and it's not an accident.
You know what? I was talking to you, Ray, the other day. Ray introduced us to Frank from Ace Hardware, so I know Ray. Ray, you had mentioned to me something that I noticed when I was over there, but kind of escaped my attention at Ace Hardware, Deerfield Beach Ace Hardware. That not only do they make keys, but some of those there's incredible deals on some of these keys for cars that typically are very, very expensive if you go elsewhere.
Especially if you have an electric transmission,
Yeah.
like I did.
Yeah.
And the first time I went in to try to get a price for a substitute key,
Oh.
they were $300 or something
Yeah,
for it. I mean,
crazy.
It was ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well. What color do you want?
Wow, $750.
Something else.
It's a steal. That's a steal. Well, listen, Ace Hardware Deerfield is located, of course, in Deerfield, just south of Hillsboro, west side of US 1 Federal Highway, and the Beach Ace Hardware is located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea. They're both listed at stevecaneshow.com. I've been to both, but typically shop at the Deerfield location. Now, Frank, are you at both locations, or mostly Deerfield, if people want to come in and meet you?
I'm usually at the Deerfield
Yeah,
store.
yeah. It's kind of hard, though, because people are wearing masks over there that are working, so it's kind of, you might have to ask because you can't recognize anyone. Everyone's wearing a mask over there. But when you guys stop in to either location, if you mention the Steve Kane Show, they're going to give you a free bandana that you can wear as a mask to go out and about. And let me tell you, the bandana is really the face covering of choice for a number of reasons, and not just because it's free. It's a great deal. Like I say, it's washable, and it's I think it's more comfortable than a lot of the masks people are wearing. A lot of these medical masks that people are demanding, try to breathe through those. So you've got the protective gear you want. You can wash it, and and over at Ace Hardware, they have this one is really nice. It's the American flag.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that you got to tie it
Makes me
around.
feel like I'm an easy rider.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't do the other things they were doing in Easy Rider.
Bring over my
Yeah.
hog and off we'll go.
Yeah, but not the rest of the stuff they were doing in Easy Rider. We don't want to do. But yeah. 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 Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting you mentioned that about tools, because tools are something that I have been replenishing tools a little too often, and I didn't realize this, so I started shopping at Ace Hardware, and these tools you buy at all these other places around town, people say, oh, made in China isn't everything. Well, what I find a lot of times, a lot of the tools I buy at some of these other places will break after one or two uses, or they'll bend and they won't fit exactly like I need them. And the tools that I've picked up at Ace Hardware, I have a toolbox that was my grandfather's. Some of these tools are 80, 90 years old, and they still work. And the tools I picked up at Ace Hardware are of, I would tell you, similar quality that are going to be there to last, where I won't have to buy the same tool 5 or 10 times over the next few
Do you
years.
think we're going to, Frank, do you think we're going to end up, when this is over, boycotting China with this?
Well, I sure hope so. We need to pull everything back to this country.
I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, hey, listen, Ray. Thanks for calling in. Yeah.
Sure.
That's correct. Right on the money. Well, hey, Ray, thanks so much for calling, and thanks for introducing us to Frank, all right? All right, you have a good weekend. All right, now I'll tell you, Frank, before we end here, 'cause we're coming up on the break here at the bottom, you know, I was surprised by a couple of things when Steve and I first met you and we went over to your Deerfield location. I was surprised about two things, okay? I'll tell you, the first one was your prices over there. Because I assume, because you know Ace Hardware is a smaller store, it's not one of those humongous stores, that the prices, but your prices are competitive, they're very good, and when I was over there I actually took my phone out a little bit and did some comparisons online. Your prices are fantastic.
Yeah, in today's age, everybody has their phone. They can check prices anywhere. So with the electronic age, everybody's basically the same price.
Yeah. And the other thing that really surprised me, because when I was a kid, Ace Hardware, you know, and then these things come around, I was surprised that the prices are one, which is great, the quality and how helpful everyone that works there is. But I was surprised that the owner was actually working in the store. I didn't realize that Ace Hardware were locally owned stores with a local owner like you working in the store. That's spectacular. You don't see that anymore.
We're a good old-fashioned hardware store. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Just
so,
like the good old days.
It is. It really is. So listen, everyone. These two Ace Hardware locations, no matter what project you're working on at home, go over there. The staff that work over there, they help me. Okay, they help me. I go over there. I need this. I'm working on that, and they always tell me what I need to get it done. And like I said, a big thing for me is when I get home, I have everything I need. I don't have to run back to the store for 4 or 5 things because I need this part, I need this tool, I need this, I need that. The experts that work over at Frank's stores will make sure when you leave, you got what you need to work on whatever project you're doing from beginning to completion. And again, the two locations, Beach Ace Hardware at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea, Ace Hardware Deerfield, 365 South Federal Highway, Deerfield. Again, that's just south of Hillsborough on the west side of US 1 Federal Highway. And when you mention the Steve Kane Show, they will give you a free bandana that you can wear as a mask around town, because you still have to wear them when you go out and about. So we'll want to thank Frank for stopping by and these supplies that Frank brought in here for Steve. Steve desperately needed this care package.
Absolutely.
Hand
All
sanitizer.
the things you think are not available,
They got them.
you're just looking in the wrong place.
Masks, gloves, sanitation wipes, you've got hand sanitizer, you got Lysol. So just make sure you keep an eye on that when you get home, Steve. Don't let your kids take that hard to find Lysol.
No, I'm going to lock it in my...
I'm telling you, wherever you keep your gold, that's where you put the Lysol.
Exactly.
Because it's in our, but they got it over at Ace Hardware, so you guys can come by. So Frank, thanks so much for coming by. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. Those of you on hold, stand by. We'll take more calls after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Dan, I'm sitting
Awesome.
here with my good friend.
Great, I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Very neat. Thank you so much for this. It's incredible.
Don't forget all your stuff. We'll put it.
Yeah.
I'll carry it down for you, Steve.
It's heavy box, yeah.
I'll carry it down for you.
You guys are.
What would I do without Brian? Exactly what
Yeah, right. Well, then I take it home. Great. This is good stuff, Steve.
I tell you
But I'm
that.
telling you, this stuff here,
I love that
your
stuff.
kids will steal that. I'm telling you, they'll take that. You do not want to let that out of your sight. Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Well,
It's still on the air.
Yeah, we're on the air for half an hour.
Okay.
All right,
Glad
take
you're
care.
here.
All right, thanks again, Frank.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
And it can eat away at your assets. It can even deplete
Oh,
your
man.
assets to nothing.
You're all set up now.
Imagine if you lose all
Don't
your
forget, put the
assets,
Lysol in there. You don't want to walk out
go
without it.
to a facility,
Put the Lysol.
Yeah, the Lysol.
Steve Kane Show.
biggest
left.
deal.
Or you may end up not having any assets left to leave to your loved ones. So with elder law, we are able to look at
Okay, now it's Richard Pearl.
government benefits that may
Now?
be available
Yeah.
to you or your spouse, such as Medicaid or veteran benefits. And even if you don't think that you're eligible for these benefits, you'd be surprised.
I had this call in the first hour from a black guy that was siding with those white guys. Hey, I couldn't believe it.
At this point,
A black guy who was siding with the white guys that shot the black guy in Georgia. I thought he was joking.
You must have got some good calls off of that.
I thought he was joking. He said they shot him in self-defense. I thought he was pulling my leg. All right, Richard Pearl's on the line.
Even more detail. His number toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. Mention that you heard it on the Steve King Show.
Listen to the Steve King Show on iHeartRadio.
Oh, man.
Search for WW.
All right, we're back. Oh, Steve, we have Richard Pearl on the line.
Richard Pearl, the man you want to call when your immune system needs a tune-up.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I stopped by Richard yesterday. A listener had dropped off a little gift for me, which was kind of nice.
Oh, great.
And then I stocked up on all these great wake-up supplies that I call. A couple of these things. I told him I get up in the morning and I'm kind of groggy and I got to shake the
Yeah.
cobwebs out. He says, not to worry. I got to tell you, he has something for everyone.
Every ailment.
A man of tremendous resources.
That's right.
Richard, how are you today?
I know it's freezing in here.
Wonders of this industry that I'm in is that so many of the things that you do, you can see the results almost immediately or certainly quickly. And I'm probably the king of all people when it
You got to
comes
cough
to
that way,
vitamin
Steve.
D. I've been telling people for years to get their levels up to 65 to 100 nanograms per milliliter.
Wow.
But there's a correlation with low
Steve
T
King Show.
hyperactive immune system. And so these strengthens the natural immunity, the innate immunity, and it prevents overactivity.
Wow. Steve.
And all the other things that I carry in my
Yep.
Well, it's a great idea, and Richard is one of the things I love when I go over to Simply Natural. It's always loads of customers, which is great. It's a sign of a great business, and he's so attentive when you come over there. He waits on your hand and foot, and he just knows what he's doing. No wonder he has been such a success all of these decades. Richard, if they want to reach you, tell them how to find you. Yeah. definitely passionate, no question. And again, that address for
just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. Hey, Richard, take care. I'll be tuned into your show tomorrow at noon on our radio stations, all right?
You take care.
All right. Okay. Phones have been pretty hot today.
Well, the news is hot. I mean, it's beyond hot.
Oh, man. I know. We need to expand the show 3 hours with what's going on today.
I'm scheduled for an all-weekend marathon watching the stuff that's going on because it's incredible.
Yeah, I know.
Finally, just when you'd given up, I'd forgotten about them. I'd written it off. I said they're never going to get these guys.
All struck and
boy, with a vengeance. And I picked it up. You have to really pay attention.
Steve Kane show.
But you know who we said all along. Somebody is going to turn.
What do you want to talk about?
Somebody is going to trade up, faced with going to jail for life, and they're going to spill the beans on everybody. Somebody high up, and you know who it turned out to be? If you were watching very
Who's
carefully.
that? Rod Rosenstein?
No. He's one of the upper guys.
McCabe?
No, upper.
Comey, Brennan, Clapper.
Clapper.
Oh.
Clapper Trapper.
See, I got a different take on Clapper.
Well, he gave two different takes.
Yeah.
Because he said one thing when he was testifying in front of Congress under oath, and then later, after he made his deal, he directly contradicted.
That's right. He made it. See, I think Clapper's cooperating with Barr and Brennan.
That's exactly what's
he's
happening.
He is a cooperating witness. He's like an informant for the coup attempt against the president.
And what they offered him to do that was obviously not sending him to prison for the rest of his life, which means that the others who did not cooperate, I think there's a decent chance, for the first time, I think there's a decent chance they may in fact do some jail time.
Well, the phones are rocking, and I'll tell you, this is our second week in the new studio. And I was telling you yesterday, the phones have been so busy with new callers, and I think it's because we have so many more phone lines than in our own private studio. And there's been so much excitement. I've lost track of who is who on the line, and there's so many lines. So this is going to be like a game of roulette. I am not going to vouch for the quality of who may be on the line or not. We're going to do all this random. Okay?
Okay.
It's really a little risky. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Mike in Boca. Hey, Mike.
I was in Ace Hardware 2 weeks ago.
All right.
Great. Yeah, they got everything. Yeah.
You name it, they got it.
Awesome. So what's on your mind, Mike? What else is on your mind? Yeah, that's right. So what else is on your mind, Mike? General Flynn, all right.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I think his best years are in front of him.
Oh, he's broke now. That's a problem.
That'll take care of itself.
Well, first thing he'll have, before you know it, he'll have a book deal. That's millions of dollars right there.
Don't be surprised if Trump ends up
promoting him, hiring back.
Hiring him back.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing Trump would do.
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, he goes back and forth.
Yeah.
He has good days and bad days.
Like Trey Gowdy was. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it looks like they've been lining things up, and even after last night, you still don't believe? I mean, I can understand. I didn't believe before last night.
And John Solomon and Sarah Carter, these people have been doing the homework, and they have all the answers. And Lindsay sees all this, and he kind of just like, yeah, well, we got to look at this.
Well, Lindsey Graham, the thing with Lindsey Graham, his mentor is John McCain, and he wants to be a good guy, but he always needs a strong, powerful male role model in his life, and his views and opinions seem to bend. You understand what I mean? So he must have some influence going over him now other than Trump. Hey, Mike in Boca, thanks for the call. We'll talk again another time. All right, you're on the radio, completely random, these calls. I have no idea who's who. You're on the radio. Mm-hmm. That's right. That makes it fun.
And I want to say right off the bat, I have been to Ace Hardware in Deerfield Beach.
Oh, this is Lurch.
This is not Lurch.
Is this Ken?
No.
Told you. Lurch. That's great.
Tools. Perfect. We got to record that and add it on the end.
I actually have the real singers that are on our commercials. I'd rather have
Lurch. I didn't recognize his voice. Usually.
I know. I never forget that voice. Oh my goodness. Good morning. You're on the radio. Ugh.
I visited
Steve Kane Show.
Pearls of Wisdom, the health
Hey, Bob.
store, and plus I consulted with my eye will.
That's awesome. That's great. That's great. So what things are not looking very good.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Who did you pick to be the one to decide when it's time to pull the plug? I'm serious. That's one of the that's the biggest question. Who is going to be the one? Is your mother still with us, or did she pass on? She passed on. Well, that's too bad. She was a very nice woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Is that it?
Now things are falling apart for you Democrats. Flynn, charges dropped.
What do you think?
We're in good shape.
What? Who's it? Yeah, we are the Trump train. We're in great shape. And do what with them? What are you going to do with those Senate seats? What do you want to do with them? That Trump's not doing. Yeah.
Some version? Anything a little more specific than that? I mean, you've only had, 4 years to work on this problem or whatever it is, and that's the best you can come up with?
I've been hearing about that for 20 years. So you have something new? Medicare for all. Can I take another caller?
Yes,
please. You're on the radio. Good morning. I don't even know who this is.
I got a headache, this pounding ache.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's Liberal Al, the John. Good morning. You're on the radio. Yeah, what's your name? Hey, Bob.
You know what bothers me with something before I tried to get to it, is talking to you back from Ace Hardware. This mask business, it's not very effective, really, unless you have the N95.
Steve Kane Show.
Those very long without passing out.
Oh,
it's just almost a statement of surrender. I don't know. There's a risk reward, and the risk of everybody being so demoralized. It demoralizes me when I go into stores and wearing a mask. It really bothers me. I don't know about you. It bothers me.
Well, let me tell you the thing about the mask, okay? What I want more than anything is to get all of America reopened. And if I got to wear a mask for a few weeks to do that, I'm going to do whatever it takes. All right, no, excuse me. You're right now. This week, the Palm Beach County Commission, Democrat stronghold, broke from Democrat Broward, asked the governor to sign an executive order to reopen Palm Beach in the phase 1 like the rest of the state. As soon as Palm Beach reopens, and it will happen any minute, the domino effect, Broward will be next. And yeah.
One lady in the beach.
Steve Kane Show.
They'll chase you a while. I mean, the beach is beautiful here. Get the people out. And just like the boats came out. The first day the boats came out, it was like hundreds of boats in the ocean. Now there's 2 or 3 or 4.
Well, last weekend, did you see the Trump boat parade in Palm Beach County? I mean, it was hundreds of boats. And I was talking earlier, today is the second week anniversary of Georgia being 100% open. And I am not hearing any negative coronavirus stories out of Georgia.
You're just not looking in the right places.
What are you talking? What am I missing?
These. I don't know. I talked to Janae about this.
Steve Kane Show.
There are websites, and it's amazing how many people each.
I'm gonna have to block you.
Want to go in with a positive attitude.
Steve Kane Show.
And then they talk about how many people died yesterday in the state of Florida, and it's
well, no, Georgia. People are still going to die. We haven't ended death and sickness, but no, people still die. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
yeah. You're never. Yeah. No, but in Georgia, see, listen, in Georgia, everything opened up. Hair salons, barbershops, nail salons, malls, restaurants, movies, everything. And I haven't heard about some huge second wave hitting Georgia. And believe me, you would if it was. So Georgia, people are still going to get sick. We're not going to end sickness. We're not going to end death. But I think Georgia's a good model. Listen, we got to run for our last break, but thanks a lot, Pompano, for calling. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Show.
Hold on. No, wait. Just wait. I got to mess me up. Hold on, I got to call Youngerman.
An outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van. At the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing, and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive, and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Listen to the Steve Kane
Okay,
Show
Youngerman.
on iHeartRadio. Just search.
And we are back. Time for that moment that folks say they wait for each day on the Steve Kane Show. The Gold Report, brought to you by the one and only William Youngerman of William Youngerman, Inc. William, of course, one of the world's leading experts when it comes to the precious metals, and we are so blessed to have him each day here on the Steve Kane Show to give us the price of yesterday's closing, today's opening, and all that good stuff. William, how are you today? Very excellent. Weekend's here. I'm ready to party. Wow. Well, it sounds very exciting, and I personally would like to invite each and every one of you, especially you fathers out there in the audience who haven't got mom her present for Mother's Day yet. Beautiful stuff available at William Youngerman, you know, antique jewelry, things like that, at a fraction of what you would think it would cost. And of course, William has been doing this for a long time, over 50 years. And drop by William today. The address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. Now that's the Bank of America building. You'll find William on the first floor, directly across from the bank. You can reach him by phone at 1-800-327-5010 or go to the website at williamyoungerman.com. William, have a great weekend, and we'll speak to you on Monday, all right? You take care.
Oh man, so we're finishing up our second week in the new place.
Yeah.
I love it here.
Yeah.
This is out of every studio we've had, I think this is the best one. I told you last week, this is our 8th studio together. Our 8th studio.
But who's counting?
We're like transients, I guess, you know. The story in Georgia is crazy about the shoot. Did you see the video of the shooting?
I did not see.
You're lucky. You
the
don't want to
crucial
see it.
part.
You don't want to see it. It's disgusting. It to me, the way I described it earlier, to me it looks as if the slavery never ended, and it looked like one of those fugitive slave gangs going after. I mean, this guy was doing nothing, man. He was totally unarmed, and they shot him with the 12 gauge, and it is god awful. And what even compounds it is it happened February 23rd. They just got arrested because of the national attention.
Yeah, it's amazing that no one took action before this, but what do they say? Better late than never, at least.
Well,
I mean, there was a time when they would never take it.
they could get acquitted. When they were hauled out of their houses and arrested, the father and son, the neighbors were pissed that they were getting arrested. So if they get tried in their community, they could be acquitted, these guys. I mean, this is like...
It could happen.
Oh,
It could
yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And double tragedy, but...
It's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, when you see the video on TV today, I mean, I would caution people not to see before you watch the video, really think about it. It's pretty brutal. I did tweet a story on my Twitter that has the video in it, but before you watch the video, really think about it. You know, I watched it right before the show today because I had to watch it to talk about it. But you don't need to see it, people out there. You don't need to see the video. I mean, you may want to see it.
Is it that graphic?
I've seen things more graphic, but it's so disturbing that the guys, the father and son, are just really comfortable doing it. I mean, it doesn't seem like...
Just a guy and his dad out hunting.
That's what it looked like. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it looked like to me. And I'm glad they got arrested. I mean, this is like...
Well, I'd like to, if you get arrested, I'd like to see him get convicted.
I hope they televise trials in Georgia. Do they televise Georgia trials?
They're not going to televise this one. It's nothing, no reason to. I mean, it's just going to stir up bad feelings.
If they go to trial, it should be
It'd
televised.
be incendiary.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what'll be the next phase with the media with this is you're going to find, I promise you these guys did not, the father and son, neither of them voted for Hillary Clinton. So there's a very good chance we're going to find out that one or both of them voted for Donald Trump. So watch that. I'm just assuming. You think they voted for Hillary, these two guys? I don't think so. So that could be like maybe one of the next developments in the case.
That'll give Al his next big call.
No call with Al is big.
Liberal Al.
But no, so wait for that. You know, thankfully when they hauled him out of the house, they weren't wearing MAGA hats or something. Oh my goodness, that would have been the worst. That would have been the worst.
You can't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
what do you predict for the weekend? It's going to be a great weekend. This is a weekend you can sit and just watch television all weekend.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Everything is going to unfold.
Well, we're getting a lot of good news stories now. The country's reopening. The left, they hate that.
Well, but by the time the press finishes with that, they'll turn it into a negative. That's why I'm surprised that Trump did that, because
You got to reopen the country. Not everyone wants to sit home and watch TV all day and night and weekends. I mean, you got to get out and work. People got to work.
Why are you so personal? Why are you always attacking?
Because you watch the wrong news. If you were watching
news is what?
Well, for you, it would be One American News. You have it on the dish. You have One American News.
It's Amateurville.
It's gotten better. At least it's the real news.
Newsmax is on, right?
Newsmax is kind of boring. But I do like One American News. Yeah. But you're watching Fox News. That's the wrong thing to watch all day.
I don't know. You have to spread it around. You have to spread it around. It's funny. Of course, I get my exposure to the other side from my sister, who is always there to balance things out.
Is she happy to be under a complete shutdown in California?
She's she thinks it's all Trump's fault.
What's Trump's fault? The pandemic?
Yeah, that he
on.
Canceled the. If you ever want a real rundown of.
He canceled the funding at the CDC.
Yes, he did.
That's not true. That's not true.
I didn't say it was true, but it's a good
They shut down the division that was in charge of like H1N1 or one of those things that had been eradicated. They didn't shut down the CDC, and believe me, the CDC is not hurting for money. She doesn't blame Fauci, who said no big deal back in January.
I don't think she's that focused on the specifics.
Yeah, well, that's how the Democrats are.
Yes.
It's not a good time. I mean, the Flynn charges dropped against Flynn. That's huge. Remember, he pled guilty.
Well, I think you're going to find, if I'm not surprised, I think you're going to find another shoe dropping today.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a 1-2 punch, and
Yeah.
I think we got one last night.
Well, the
I think
problem
it's
is,
gonna be processed
the
over
problem
weekend.
is, I was talking about this earlier. Because of the coronavirus, the courts are shut down in D.C. There's no grand juries. So they can't go in and get a grand jury indictment right now. There's no grand juries. So until coronavirus is gone,
We waited this long.
we're going to have to wait longer.
They're not going to do away with grand juries.
But there aren't any now, though. So there's not going to be an indictment, unless they already got it, like before this happened and been holding on to it.
You just had, what I'm worried about is what is the grand jury going to look like coming out of Washington?
Ugh,
It's going to be
nothing
a
good.
bunch of total liberals.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, we're all out of time for the week. That's it.
Shucks.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you Monday at 6 a.m. Thanks for listening. We'll see you Monday.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing,
All right, guys, take care.
sheltering in
Subscribe
place,
if you're not
many people have
subscribed,
been
all right?
forced
Take
to
care.
neglect their